Bearcat Bounce podcast back at it again. Happy Monday. Wow. Happy Monday. That's right. Huge Monday following a huge victory against the Pitt Panthers at Pitt for Coach Scott Satterfield. A 2-0 start in the Satterfield era. The momentum, the morale, the excitement is high for Bearcat Nation. 27-21. That's right. Another victory. The traveling, non-traveling trophy between the two schools simply does not need to travel, as it will stay in Cincinnati, if that makes sense. We'll be diving into all of that, of course. And another Monday following Bearcats in the NFL, week 1 of the NFL. Bearcat action all over the place. A little Bearcat action tonight as well, as one Sauce Gardner out on the field. And then, of course, it's also Monday as we get ever so close to basketball, as basketball slowly starts to trickle back in to the scene. Basketball recruiting, firing back up, this, that, and the other. But it's a Monday where I get to bring in my guys, my pals, we're going to break down a huge win for the Cincinnati Bearcats. So without further ado, my guys, so far we got two of the three here, ready to rock and ready to roll. Aaron Smith, Ryan Royer, gentlemen, how are we? Oh, we got another one, Chad. Welcome in. Behind the scenes, how are we, gentlemen?
I'm good. Just getting home, so getting the dogs fed. Make sure they go out and don't poop on the floor while I'm podcasting. So I'm here. I'll be behind the scenes for a few minutes, but I'm good. I'm good.
Who let the dogs out, baby? Who? Aaron, how are we, sir?
Doing well. Happy to make another trip to watch this Bearcats team and come out victorious.
Victorious they were. Can't wait to hear your full account of it. Big time. Ryan, sir, Mr. Royer, Mr. Bearcat, how are we?
I'm doing well, man. I'm proud alum of the Bearcats after a strong showing. Excited. It's a great way to start the week. Looking forward to digging into it with y'all, getting some in-game perspective from you, Brent and Aaron, trying to feel out what it was like live. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, and well, of course, we got to mention this is another Monday leading into the first nip at night of the season, the first rendition, if you will, of a Big 12 team taking on the Victoryville rivalry against Miami this upcoming weekend. And I tell you what, there's no bigger thing as a come early, be loud, wear black this Saturday night for the Bearcats game against Miami. Another Battle of Victoryville. We're going to dive into that. But, I mean, the vibes are high, man. The vibes are high. And I know a lot of people, a lot of faithful, head down to Pittsburgh or over to Pittsburgh, check out the game. If you put some miles on your car, you might want to go get it fixed up real quick. Just get a quick oil change before, you might need to go on some more road trips as you continue to ride this momentum, ride the wave of the Bearcats in year 1 under Coach Scott Satterfield. Head over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Joe will hook you up. He's going to make sure your car can go all over the place, including Lubbock and Stillwater and any other crazy place you would enjoy traveling to this season. But tell Danco Joe that we sent you. Aaron Smith, Royer, Brent. He'll get you $10 off your next oil change, 10% off your next fixing. Mention the BBP, Danco Transmission Auto Care. But yeah, let's dive right into it, man. 27-21. At one point, it was 27-7. The Bearcat faithful singing beautiful songs heading into the fourth quarter. Sweet Caroline, Aaron, could you hear Sweet Caroline up from the press box?
Yeah, you could hear it. It was the loudest that they got maybe the whole game up until that last the interception in the fourth quarter, I guess.
Yeah, I yelled, "Where's my theme music?" as we got ready for that third into the fourth, and right after I finished saying it, Sweet Caroline started playing. Dove right in, sang as loud as possible. It was a beautiful time. And then, of course, the Panthers put on a little fight. Power 5 team, ACC team, repping for the Coastal, coming out there and put up a little fight in that fourth quarter. Still, it was the team being able to be resilient, coming out with a huge, massive victory, 2-0, receiving votes in both big polls. A lot higher on the metric polls. This is a team that just continues to surprise, and one that came out extremely strong. Scripted plays offensively, big time. We'll dive into those, and then of course defense, creating that havoc that we were known to for Brian Brown defense to have coming into the season. Aaron, we heard Chad and Keegan's account. You were there on site. Ryan, we're going to get some questions from you as well. We're going to dive into your thoughts on the game as well. But, I guess big picture, Aaron, you got to say a massive, massive win this early in the Scott Satterfield tenure.
Yeah, and it wasn't up until the fourth quarter. It wasn't a game that looked like Pitt was even going to make a game of.
Right.
There was certainly in the first three quarters, I would say, plenty of domination by this defense, plenty of domination by the offense as they controlled the ball. And Pitt struggled pretty much throughout the game. Even in the fourth quarter when they were starting to make things happen, I don't think at any point in time you wouldn't say that they weren't struggling. I mean, when your quarterback only goes 10 of 32, I think it was.
Yep.
That's not a good day. That's not anything anybody would write home about. And their run game was damn near non-existent. So,
yeah, sacked 5 times. Phil Jerkovic. I say Jerkovic the whole time. Jerkovic, potato, patata. He was bad. 10 of 32, as you mentioned, 179 through the air. So a good, that's about 18 yards per completion. But it really seemed like he was getting a lot of heat in the backfield and then kind of just lobbing the ball up. So the Pitt coaches said that they had that deep ball. They were, the Bearcats were giving them that flyer out, and they're going for it numerous times, but didn't quite connect on too much other than some flags here and there. They did have that long pass to the tight end. Another little trick joke play where our defender fell down in the process, got up and had to chase him down. But overall, very inefficient day throwing the football.
I would agree. And it seemed the only thing that they were really getting bailed out by in regards to throwing the ball was the refs being a little flag happy. And maybe all those DPIs were warranted. Maybe they weren't. But in any case, they were called. So that was about the only thing that bailed them out.
I don't think that all 3 of them should have been called. Maybe 1, maybe 2. I still think 2 of them were kind of bullshit. But if you kind of look at their offense, they were fueled. Their scoring drives were fueled by the fluke catch to start and just jerk a bit. That's what I'm going to call him. Just how bad he played. Throwing just the most just crazy lucky balls while getting hit, hands in his face. Because I'm going to call him lucky because when you're 10 of 32 and the whole rest of the game, you kind of don't really have a lot of. I don't think he's the quality that he was showing on some of those throws where sometimes that ball was just placed right past the hand of our defender, like the DP touchdown, or some of the intermediate routes he was just throwing off his back foot while getting hit on that first drive. And then the DPIs and then the interception by Emory late in the game. Like other than that, Pitt's offense had nothing. And I think that's partly what the quarterback was just, he killed his offense. But I think a main part of that was Brian Brown noticed he was struggling. He said, I'm going to dial it up even more. I'm going to pressure both linebackers on third downs, and I'm going to just get in this quarterback's grill every single time, give him no time for the deep ball, no time for anything intermediate. And when you're stopping the run on first and second down and you're hitting them on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, it's just money in the bank. For one, it's money in the bank for the situation Pitt was in, and 2, it just fits perfectly into our hands of how our defense likes to operate, how Brian Brown likes to call it. Because it was just a textbook like that. If our defense can do that, where the way they do everything right, you have Jawan Briggs and Corleone up the middle that just run stop and disrupt the quarterback at the direct point of attack. And then you have solid linebacker play, solid DB play, and that's with guys' injuries in the back. So I was really impressed, and I was really impressed with the offense, finding ways to respond, fourth down conversions. Still, just every time I went back and watched some of the game today. Just every time, it's just you just feel like the creativity, just like this kind of excitement, this buzz that you hadn't really felt um, around the offense. And that's not a knock on like Den Brock or anything, but it's just a whole different feel. And I think we're utilizing our players perfectly. Um, And still the run game. I mean, the run game, Corey Kiner busting out of his shell. I felt like I hadn't felt like that about our run game since the Mike Warren years, man, back early in my career. The O-line, just, man, I thought it was the perfect game. Obviously, you don't like to, kind of make it tight like that. You want to shut teams down. But I just was really impressed. I was very unexpected, too. I didn't think it was going to go the way it did.
Yeah, mine opened up on the game at Bearcats +8, got all the way down to 6.5 before kickoff. It's one of those where yet again the team was doubted coming into it. Not many were picking the Bearcats to pull through, and then of course, even still, I listened to one national podcast after the game, and their comment was that it was a bad loss for Pitt. And didn't quite mention much about Cincinnati, having a big win or anything quite like that. They kind of mentioned Emory's stat line blindly, I imagine, and just saying like, Bearcats didn't really play very well, so it's a bad loss for Pitt. So I think people are still sleeping on Cincinnati. You even venture over. I saw some people talking about it on our board, and the Louisville board on 247 is mentioning how Satterfield's winning with Luke Fickell players and winning against a bad Pitt team, the worst Pitt team in the ACC. And I mean, it's these people are going to doubt. They're going to continue to doubt, and it'll probably be something that leads all the way into the Oklahoma game. Don't want to look past the big fake Miami this upcoming Saturday, but it's still a situation where, heading into the game, not many expected it. I don't know, but go to the predictions before the game from the BCJ staff. We were all kind of right on the money with that point total and the spread. So a lot of people doubted it. A lot of people ended up figuring out that, hey, this team is for real, and offense and defense. And we're going to kind of dive in a little bit further. But yeah, I agree. A lot of good things coming out of it.
I wasn't able to get my prediction in because when I'm at work, I can't really have my phone. It's kind of just a pain in the ass. But I promise you, just so I can
what you have
on the horn a little bit, I said Bearcats defense needs to hold them to 21, need better linebacker play, and need to stop the run, and we'll win. And I think it was mainly a defensive call out because, I thought the offense, if they can just do basically what they did versus EKU, but obviously it wasn't going to be as explosive and as easy. But if you could just score more than 21 points, then I thought we were going to win.
Royer, they only scored 21 points, held them to a net of 83 yards rushing.
Yeah, I'd say I would have looked like the fucking genius did. Like a wizard.
You have until 7:00 on Friday nights to get those in, Royer.
Well, it's because I got home. I had to drive straight to fucking Lake Norris, Tennessee.
It only needs to be 2-3 sentences. You can text me. Just text it to me.
I'm not gonna lie. I was at work and I was like, I just forgot about it.
When was the last weekend you didn't go to a lake?
I've been 3 lake trips already.
Soak in all the lake trips.
4. Let's call it 4.
Look, as the boss, I am pro lake trip. Take all the lake trips you can take.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
I took about 3 this summer as well. So hey, lake it up, baby. Lake life.
Oh, and there's nothing better than just being at a lake, but you come in, you throw the Bearcats on, put some money down.
Yeah.
All your boys put some money down.
Already feeling good from the morning leading into that little early afternoon.
And they win.
Oh. Head to the local little bar, bar, the hole in the wall bar.
No, dude, that area. I don't know. Have you been to Lake Norris?
No.
It's like, It's out there. No service. There's not a lot of shit around. It's just, but it's the lake's really nice and the properties are nice. It's a good area, but it's on its own.
Yeah.
It's a great time though. They got the houseboats out there. It's awesome. So if you ever get the chance, I
check it
recommend
out. Maybe check it on out. But yeah, I mean, boating their way to a victory, the Bearcats were this past weekend. Man, I tell you what, let's start from the beginning. Obviously defensively, we saw Phil Jerkovich was off quite a lot.
Sure.
At OK Sherfield. But
okay, sure.
The main thing to look at is, people have been talking about his stat line. He was getting booed a bunch by the crowd, and the coolest part of him getting not cool about him getting booed, but every time that he was booed, the Cincinnati fans would boo along with them, so it would sound just even louder. And so, I'm sure that didn't help, but he had a really good game against Brian Brown in Louisville last year in a win when he was at Boston College. So it's a situation where this defensive staff is familiar with Dracovic, and I kind of felt like that was probably something to dig out from this is the fact that, hey, they had tape on Dracovic. They've gone up against him before, kind of like they've also gone up against this entire playing style of Pitt last year at Louisville as well, and a few years prior. So those kind of connections and familiarities between the two is something that needs to be kind of poked on with value. But 0 rushing attempts by them on the first set of downs, and I think that kind of was an interesting idea. To fly balls, trying to connect on their deep balls, nothing really came out of it. And then offensively, Bearcats come out onto the field, and the second play of the game kind of set the tone for the Cincinnati offense, and that's when they brought Aaron Turner in motion, and then they handed the ball off to him in the backfield. He went around the corner for 22 yards. That kind of set up in the back of the mind of every
setting it up.
Yeah, of every Pittsburgh player. Yep, is the fact that, okay, every time they bring someone in motion, they might be involved in the play. They might be getting a handoff, this, that, and the other. And you saw, just rewatching the game, how many times Cincinnati would bring a man in motion and the defense would be a little confused on what they were going to do, and it set up a big run by Kiner or set up a big pass by Emory Jones. So just that second play.
Or you hand it off to him, and he throws it, a dot.
A dot. Unreal throw.
That's the best throw of the game.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think the touchdown catch.
Yeah.
No, I think that was a better catch than it was the throw.
That was I see. It was an amazing throw, I think. I still think it's an amazing throw. It's
for a receiver to throw to a guy with a defender draped on him and drop it in the bucket, that was an incredible throw.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible. Because all Wiggins had to do was this.
Yeah.
Braden Smith had to make one of the 5 best catches in UC football history for that to be a touchdown on the Emory Jones throw.
Yeah. On
the Braden Smith throw, D. Wiggins just put his hands up, and Braden Smith put it right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Jerkovic's 4th down ball on DP was nasty too.
That's a great
It looks so simple because it's, but just, I mean, pressure in his face, just dumping it. DP was in great coverage too, and everyone's probably like, DP, what are you doing? I can't believe DP got beat, but no, that was just
sometimes there's nothing you can do.
No. Sorry, Brent. Go ahead.
Oh no. I'm enamored by this pre-snap motion. I'm even aware. What does that do for the defense? It just completely off balances them.
Well, it's one because Bearcat fans were used to a lot of our motion before. It was a lot more tight end motion. It's a lot more in the run game or in the RPO game, and it doesn't look and feel as threatening on defense. Sometimes it helps you with at least on my side of things when I played linebacker versus our offense. Our motion game it helped me know, where's the ball going. It could give me an extra step on my read.
Yeah, it told you the strong side.
Yeah.
It established the strong side for the defense.
Yeah, because there's only so many things you can do with Lenny T and Josh Wiley, motioning across the line. It's never really going to expose you or put you in that hard of a spot. But when you have Aaron Turner running across the line of scrimmage, full head of steam, and on the defense, you're trying to mirror him on your heels. You don't know if he's going to bend back and go behind the running back, or you don't know if he's going to carry across into just a straight little out route. I mean, it's kind of like what Tyreek Hill will do in the NFL.
Yeah,
How they
full
utilize
speed.
him in motion. Yeah, and I think it's great, dude. It's so hard on a defense. One, because it messes with the call and people's responsibilities if you're not in full on man. And two, the guy or guys that are involved with the switch, it just immediately your brain freaks out. So you're already at a disadvantage before the ball's even snapped. So I think, like I keep going back to it, that's a big part of that dynamic feeling on my end that I keep just feeling every time I'm watching this team. That motion is lethal when you have the right personnel, and the coaching staff is utilizing it perfectly.
Yeah.
For those of you not watching ESPN, Aaron Rodgers made it about 3 plays into his Jets career, and the cart has just taken him off the Jets sideline back to the locker room.
What, like non-contact or?
He got sacked, kind of rolled up a little weird, and
got
limped
stuck
off.
in the turf.
Yeah, foot got stuck in the turf, limped off. They just took him back to the locker room on a cart.
That's good for my Bills roommates.
They're loving it right now. If they lose to Zach Wilson, they got problems.
One of them's going to get back from dinner, and I'm going to have to be very keen on this mute. I'm going to have to be having this mute button toggling a lot because it's going to get Bills craze in here.
Oh, Kathy Mullady, 24-21. Good, very close prediction, but not as good as Eric Waddell. How about that? Or Waddell, yeah.
Waddell.
27-21, right on the dot. Shouts to Eric Waddell, man.
Dotted it, but he picked. He picked Pitt though.
Did he?
Yeah, I think
Was
he
that
picked Pitt.
Pitt?
He got the score right,
But
but he got the teams wrong.
All right. 31-24, second closest. Congratulations, Brent Young. Anyway, back to it.
Stein had 27-24 Bearcats. That's pretty damn close.
Stein.
Carey had 27-24 Bearcats.
Okay.
Eric had Pitt 27-21, Aaron 34-20, and then Brent 31-20.
I like the confidence, Aaron. I like the confidence. See, I picked a spread of more than a field goal, so kind of meant a lot there in the fourth quarter. Anyway, also Royer, when we mentioned this motion, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. The fact that you do hand it off to Turner as your first carry, it's got to completely throw off the defense to the point where Kiner is then able to have his career day. You look at the big Corey Kiner touchdown run, but the long run that he had. They sent a man in motion. That guy is the guy that Corey cut back on and was able to pass the entire defense. And he was just confused. Like you said, he was out of place, didn't really know what to do, was kind of still going right, and Corey cut it back, the other way, and all of a sudden he just had his ankles broken, if you will. So, man, just handing it off to Turner right off the jump just really just set everything up.
Yeah, and I not to follow up with the negative, it's just, man, not having that like breakaway speed for just as perfect as Kiner played. It was like there's just one thing that he was missing, or I guess that he just doesn't have, is just that like beat out those DBs, Jerome Ford, go juice.
Aaron called him out.
I did. I asked him in the presser.
Yeah. I mean, that resulted in 3 points where it should have been 6. And I just get like, those kind of situations just eat me alive, because those are the kind of things that are like really can bite you in the ass in a lot of games versus a better team, a better quarterback. It's like you can't get tackled at the 11 and get 3. You got to score, and maybe not score on the run, but you got to find your way in to get those 4 extra points.
In the same sense, though, what if Kiner had a couple runs later in the game where he lowered his shoulder and showed his more brute side that gained him an additional 4, 5, 6 yards? you know,
Yeah.
those burners might not have that ability to kind of break
Yeah.
that initial tackle and
True.
whatnot. So
He was also smart enough to stay in bounds towards the end of the game.
I was losing my mind on
That
the
was-
guy.
that was a
Sean.
Brilliant
Shaman.
move.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
just shows his awareness. I just think this game was like the game we've been waiting for as
Yeah.
fans and as people that know his capability. Just yards after contact was absolutely beautiful. I love running backs that run like that, just with a defensive mentality sometimes. And the cuts, the breaking the tackles at the line of scrimmage, running guys over, you know, staying in bounds, showing his good FBI, we like to call it, football intelligence. And Kiner, that's the Corey Kiner I've been waiting on, and I think it's going to be a big help having that the rest of the year if he can keep it going. And shout out to the O line though. I know I keep going on these rants. I just keep getting excited about the game.
Rant
Just seeing
away.
the O line just big holes for the most part, giving Emery a good amount of time most of the night. Just the improvement. I know we brought some guys in, but just the new staff coming in and getting these guys right, getting us back to, the first, I know my second and third years when we had a more successful O-line, I would think. I think that's huge. You're going to need O-line because D-line's been stepping up. It's so good to see the O-line start complimenting, and Corey, wouldn't have had the day without those guys. So shout out to the big boys.
Big shouts to them. And also, did you rewatch the Kiner touchdown run? That was a off balance line. They had tight end.
They brought the right tackle over to the left, right?
Right.
And then they had
Unbalanced, yeah.
Peyton Singletary in the right tackle spot.
Yeah. Unbalanced line. And like that, yet again, confusing the defense, set up for a nice little cutback for Corey. He found that hole, and it was wide open, and he was able to break a tackle and get into the end zone. Just the scheme, baby. It's a cool thing to see. Really, really cool.
Look, I get what defense head coaches, like, I understand it, but it's so fun when you have a really good offensive mind running your program. Like, it's more fun, whether it leads to more wins or not. Like, when you're watching your team be innovative and be like one step ahead of the defense, especially a really good defense like Pitt, you're like, damn, like this is why you go hire an offense coach, right? Like, this is why you go get a guy that has been, at the forefront of kind of innovative offensive play calling for most of his career.
And then he gets complimented well with a guy like Brian Brown, who runs a very high-powered defense. They might give up some explosive plays, but man, they're going to make a lot of them. So it kind of feeds well into the Big 12 narrative of just kind of craziness sometimes on both sides of the ball. But yeah, because when you think about, we had Fickle and we had Denbrock, who I would say is kind of a more like pro-conservative NFL kind of style guy.
He's a tight end coach. Like,
so it kind of
by trade, Denbrock's a tight end coach.
Yeah. Him and Fickle combined could kind of set up for kind of like that, I don't know, a little bit more on the dull side of things in comparison to like Satterfield and like the offensive style coaches. But I mean, when you have Fickle in their style, and if you execute, you're going to win a lot of games. It's just kind of, but you have to execute. But you might not have as many style points. The fans might not be as on the edge of their seat, but it's fun, man. It feels nice. It's really fun because it's working right now. So you got to keep it going. But if we were trying a bunch of bullshit and that run pass just gets sacked for 11 yards, we end up blowing the game on some bullshit, then we'd probably be like, God damn.
Draw up the plays, but gotta have the playmakers, man.
We got them right now.
We do. Let's just quickly touch on Emery. Obviously, his stat line is pretty pedestrian, but for the most part, didn't do too much to really hurt the team. 18 to 26, 125. Had the 2 touchdowns with the 1 pick when he was getting hit as he released the ball.
Yeah, he got hit on that one.
Yeah. Kind of just overall assessment of his day, open ended to you guys. I want to mention, that one play, his touchdown pass to Peyton Singletary, his was kind of like that, Tyreek Hill play where you bring him in motion, so he's got a full head of steam, and then they hike the snap, and he's already running. Defenders behind him trying to catch up. You throw it out to him in the flats, he's able to catch it and turn it upfield. Peyton Singletary is looking like a doggone player. He is looking like a tight end.
I think they kind of tried to tell us this. We kept asking about Shaman, and they kept going, Peyton Singletary. We like Shaman. Shaman's got a chance to be really good, but Peyton Singletary, they were trying to let us know that this was, and then they listed him first on the 2 deep, and then that was discussed here. Like, I think they've been trying to tell us that Peyton Singletary was a guy that they really liked and is clearly a guy that they trust in the red zone because they keep going to him already.
They do.
They're dialing up his number. It's not like he's read 3 or 4 in the progression on his 2 touchdowns. He's been option 1.
The one
on both of those plays.
Yep. Well, especially I also thought in the same vein when you're mentioning that the very first play of the game was a designed play to get Shaman the ball. So they want to get him involved, but
6 catches by the tight ends.
Yeah. Singletary's beating the door down, though. There's no doubt about that.
He's clearly the red zone guy until proven otherwise, because they've drawn up 2 plays for him in the red zone, and he's scored touchdowns on both.
Royer, what was your thoughts on old Peyton back in the day? I covered him when he was in high school as a recruit and whatnot. He played defensive end and tight end. Didn't really put up too many counting stats. He was out for a lot of the year with some lingering ailment, but man, he's someone that has just progressively seemed like he's gotten better year in and year out.
Yeah, Peyton. When I was there, he was always the young guy because he was behind Josh, he was behind Lenny, and he was always trying to grow into his own body. He was just a skinnier guy trying to figure out the offense. And so us linebackers, we would kind of, when he was in there, like we were like, all right, let's go get a lick in on him. And so he was kind of like he was kind of the
you picked on him. You big bully.
We'll pick on him a little bit, but no, he was a tough kid though. Like he'd go get a helmet under his chin by one of us backers, and we're just expecting him to like bitch and moan about it being like a freshman or young guy, but he never would. And you always could tell like he worked hard and he was smart and he had a good frame. He just needed to grow into himself as a player. And so I'm not surprised because he was always more athletic. He always he took his lickings when he was a young guy. But you always knew he had really good potential. And it was just, when was he going to get the chance? Was he going to be able to grow into his frame? And you see that happening now. And so I'm not surprised what I'm seeing. He's very dynamic. He's kind of got that wily, kind of wiry frame.
He's just not 6'7".
He can move. Yeah, he's not 6'7". He's not. I don't think he's as good on the routes as Wiley was, but that's not taken away.
Josh is great.
Yeah, Josh is an NFL tight end. He's in the NFL for a reason. Yeah, I love what I see out of Payne, man. Great dude. Tough kid, too.
Another guy who was in that tight end room that kind of blossomed a bit in this past weekend, I thought was Caleb Schmitz. Kind of really fit his role, performed it very well.
Cool for him, too, homecoming. Like, getting back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And he had a key role in kind of confusing the defense as well. He would go right and draw the linebacker, and then Corey would cut it back left, and you saw that on a few plays. And
he was big on that touchdown play, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He blocked the guy that would have came from the far side that would have probably met Corey at like the 3-yard line. But yeah,
it looks like they're using.
They love an H-back.
Schmitz, Falk, and McCalmont all to like kind of fill that like almost fullback style role.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they're at the H-back or if they're more in that the U-back kind of, where's that tying that off.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they've been interchangeable with those guys. If they want two of them in at once or one of them. So And that's good for all those guys, man. Those guys I just mentioned. Those are all kids. What is it? 2 walk-ons and Barrick, not Barrick, and Caleb, the guys that are all been like either position changes or they've been doing their time on scout team when I was there for years, and just seeing them go out there and play that kind of like fullback, like sacrificial blocker role, and watch them do a good job at it. Super cool for me, at least, knowing those guys and all the reps I shared with them out in scout team shit.
Ultimately, like, Satterfield's offense is a derivative of the option. Like, it's a wide derivative of the option, but there are a lot of option principles with all of the motion and, the the sprint option. And so it makes sense that an H-back / fullback type definitely has a role. And Schmitz and Falk and McCallum, like, those seem like guys that are like, get me on the field. I don't care what I have to do. Yeah. I came here to play football. Play me. Like, if this is my role, this is my role. I'm content in it, and I'm going to go stick my face in the fan. not their head in the fan, their face in the fan. It's different.
There it is.
But yeah, like, you saw it with Falk quite a bit against EKU, and then Schmitz was a lot more of that type of guy against Pitt, but Falk was out there a couple times as well. And then McCallum, not as much. Like, I think they like McCallum as a pass catcher, Brian.
Really?
And maybe we'll see that as a decoy of him in that H-back role where the defense is expecting him to be like the sacrificial, blow somebody up, and then he becomes a pass catcher, because he did a great job catching touchdowns at higher ground regularly in the scrimmage, in practice. It felt like every day there was at least one Michael McCallum touchdown. So it'll be interesting going forward if he's a guy that they do present as a sacrificial lamb, if that makes sense. Like, this guy's just here to run into somebody, and then he splits out to the left and he's wide open for a touchdown.
Nice. Yeah, that would be nice to see, man. I like that.
Would be super nice to see. During the second scoring drive or third scoring drive, they got the field goal, but we do need to talk a little bit more about that Braden Smith pass play. Obviously we know he had the tools to throw the football from his time, not only at Louisville, but also as a high schooler. He started as a quarterback his sophomore to senior seasons, passed for 2,246 yards and 24 touchdowns his senior year. Also, obviously ran the football a lot, but he's a guy that had some big games throwing the football during his time in high school. So obviously he's got that pass, got that pedigree, but for the confidence to not only call that play, but for Braden to try and fit that ball in on the corner, like right along the sideline to D. Wiggins, and Wiggins, of course, just still in stride, catching that ball. That's faith in a lot of different moving pieces on that play. And I tell you what, it's going to be yet another wrinkle where teams now see this on tape. I'm sure there's going to be some other different thing that they can do with it on top of that.
Yeah, I think, again, that's like this, and this is kind of what I was getting at with that offensive coach, like, thought process. You always feel like they're setting something up. Like, okay, this is about the next. Like, we saw Freeman do that on defense for 5 years, right? Or 4 years, right, Ryan? Like, it was always about, we'll show you this so we can come back with this. And Luke had a hand in that, obviously. Like, he was, 2 hands in on the defense. But now you feel like on offense, okay, like, this Aaron Turner package is setting up something going that way when Aaron Turner is in motion, or, the Braden Smith, like the pass now, maybe that sets something up on the backside where he stops and throws it back the other way because the defense saw him get the toss or the handoff or whatever. Like, it just feels like something else is coming off of each thing that we're seeing early, which I love.
Gotta love
What's up, EK?
Absolutely love it. Also, then that final drive before the half, offensively. You're met with a 3rd and 6. The only catch of the game for Xavier Henderson was one that was the entire time Emory was looking Henderson's way and found him on a 3rd and 6. Then on 4th and 3.
What a great dig route, by the way.
Yeah.
By Henderson. I mean, he made that DB believe
right
he was going deep, and then sunk his hips, turned around, and the ball was right there. The timing was outstanding on that dig route.
Oh yeah. And then on 4th and 3, they go with a screen pass to Kiner. I mean, it's just picked up 9 yards. Eventually set up a field goal attempt, which by the way, it's very refreshing to have. You go from the success that Co had, especially at the end of last year, to just simply being able to slide Carter Brown in. And I met Carter's parents. Shouts to Mr. and Mrs. Brown. They're really nice people. Good to chat with you. But knocked it in from 47 with 5 seconds.
Room to spare.
Yeah, with room to spare. And the fact is that drive started on the 1 yard line, and it was a drive that with 8 minutes left in the first half. The game was 17-7 at that time. But if you get stopped, 3 and out, field positions flipped, Pitt somehow scores, and it's 17-14 heading into half. That's a completely different vibe heading into the second half. So just some really good plays on that drive to end the first half. And then the second half was a little bit more all about the defense. And I kind of want to set that up by rolling into the defensive talk. And I guess we got to open it up with just mentioning the Adonis. And I'm going to step back and let Aaron take over and just go ahead and just speak to us about someone that near and dear to your heart.
Jack Dingle was unhinged on that play, and he had shown flashes on that drive prior to getting that sack that he ended up getting that kind of sealed the deal. But I feel like the play before he almost got to the quarterback as well, but there may or may not have been a holding call. Who knows? They certainly weren't calling holding ever. So that said, he did get there in a clutch moment, and I know I wasn't the biggest proponent of Jack Dingle in this offseason. Not that I wasn't supportive of his role, but I think between Chad and Keegan, I don't know who talked up. There's one of those phantom holding calls that didn't exist.
I guess the ref just didn't have a clear enough view.
Was that the early one? The one early in the game?
It led to the first Pitt touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
Where he spun around. This one spun him around in a circle. Where if he is not grabbed by the collar there, Jerkovich is dead. He's dead.
Well, maybe they should have made the collars red so you could see them better. I don't know.
I mean, if his nipple was exposed, like you would be able to see his nipple.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, like that would be a wardrobe malfunction if this was at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then I played the one. I put the one earlier on Twitter where they double blitz. They
Watley.
Yeah, well, Watley made the hit on the quarterback, but Dorian Jones fires first on a blitz in the A gap, and the left guard or the right guard just tackles him.
Yeah.
Jack Dingle comes over right behind him, and the running back grabs Jack Dingle, the back of his jersey, and you see Jack look like a horse, like when they pull the reins, and the horse is like, it happened like 8 times.
This is on your Twitter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I got
Here, hold on. I'll pull it up.
Well, I don't know if we can watch. Is it a still or is it the video?
It's the video.
I think the video will get us
Oh.
demonetized.
Okay. Well, you need the video because you need to see Jones getting tackled. The guard just literally dives and tackles him, and it's the right guard. And then Dingle comes behind him, and the running back just grabbed the back of his thing, and you see him and then Watley comes in and hits him as he throws the ball. Like that shit happened all night.
The whole game.
all night. They were just grabbing guys, running free to the quarterback, and the main official is standing there in clear view of it, and was just like, we checked the rules, and it said that was allowed tonight. No, you can do that tonight. You can just snatch it.
But yeah, in any case,
our DBs couldn't though. That was something they could not do.
Back to the point I was trying to make though. I think Chad. That's all right. I think Chad and Keegan, between the two of them, talked up Jack in the camp sessions that they saw probably more than anybody. So good.
Well, but you've been on him since day one.
I mean,
sure. Adonis since day one.
I was higher on some other linebackers this go round though. When what I saw at
I called him the Adonis. That was a me thing.
Yeah, Dingle had all the tools, but he's young, and it's hard to go in there and absorb game speed and the FBI you need as a linebacker. There's a lot of responsibilities. So that was my one thing. I was like, that could hold him back.
Yeah. I was not only mentioning that the final play, I was mentioning Dingle's complete game. There was like
he did give up the touchdown.
Yeah,
to the tight end. But he didn't.
That was another one of those though that it was like there's nothing he can do because you have the safety high. I think it was Taj.
High, yeah.
And basically it should be Taj should be looking 2 to 3, and you have the tight end and your linebacker, and so you should be thinking like, my linebacker is going to need help over top just normally because he's a linebacker playing coverage. And you're going to check your guy in the slot, and then you're going to see this tight end's coming right at you. So if Taj triggers maybe like half a step quicker, it's a PBU, or maybe a full step quicker, it's a
interception.
But Dingle is literally like his back is to the quarterback, and he's just told back hip and try to shoot your arm up right when you see the receiver's hands go up. But the quarterback, basically a high point back shoulder, there's nothing he can do. Like it's basically it's kind of like a pinch combination of the safety.
Spoken like a linebacker.
Yeah. It's like a pinch combination that you got your guy there to come help you on those type of balls. But I think it was just good timing, great ball by the quarterback.
Good play by the offense. It kind of put it where only his guy could get it. And like you said, and even on their first touchdown, like Taj was like a step too slow from like turning his head back and potentially picking the ball off, potentially, a PBU. And even on the DP touchdown, that was a 4th down scenario, and looked like he was just like one step behind, and a great place ball. And, it seemed like he was just right there to potentially put a paw on it or something. I think that speaks to more about, these guys aren't just sitting wide open and catching an easy touchdown.
That one on that blown coverage on the long one. Yeah. The long one of the tight end down. It looked like kind of like a busted I think it looked like cover 2 almost. Right. Because they shot the running back out to the flat, and it was something between DP and Taj because Jay Harris has to split like 1 and 2 vertical, and the tight end was 2 vertical. And
there was definitely a miscommunication on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was Taj. It was either, I don't know how they're teaching it with their defense, because either Taj would have to take that running back to the flat, and DP will route up with the 2 vert, or vice versa. But no one got him, and we covered the guy in the backfield at the flats, not the guy running down the field. So that wasn't our best look there. Thank God it didn't cost us the game, though.
Right. I mean, so the weird thing to look back and watch rehashing the game again is the fact that like so many times on 3rd down and then on 4th down as well, Pitt made like semi-miraculous, semi-lucky plays to either keep drives alive or to score. Like 3rd down was that, that just kind of throwing it out there Hail Mary where Willis slipped earlier in the route, and the Pitt player ran underneath it for the catch. Then there was another 3rd and long. It was a missed holding penalty pass was completed right near the end zone early in the first half. Another third down. There was a play that Taj could have potentially intercepted the ball in the end zone. A 3rd and 11, a pass interference penalty. A 3rd and 10, another pass interference penalty. Then on 4th and 9, that was that Pace touchdown where they kind of, Pace was just a step behind. So this game, yes, the final score says 27-21, but if certain things don't break here or there for them and on those plays, it could be a completely different game. Like a lot more lopsided than it truly was.
You can make the argument, though, if some things hadn't gone Cincinnati's way in the ways that it did,
no, you can't. That's a terrible argument.
That's
a terrible argument. That's a terrible argument because what was happening for Pitt was fluky. What happened for Cincinnati that was fluky? What was fluky?
Like a 68.
Quit trying to be the contrarian. What was fluky?
Not calling any penalties was fluky. I've not ever seen a referee crew just refuse to call holding the entire game when it's so blatant.
Yeah.
So how's that
37 of them were on Pitt.
I'm just saying, if they had, if something happens,
if they'd been even, then it was even. You're just trying to be a contrarian.
No.
It's your long
I think
hair.
Cincinnati kind of dominated the game a little bit more than the score.
I do too.
Yeah.
I agree, Brent. I agree.
Aaron,
I don't have any look. It's very similar, and I didn't have any respect for them when they did it. It's very simple or similar to what Temple used to try to do, was just drop back. They knew they couldn't beat Cincinnati's defense, so they would throw the ball as far as they could throw it, and just hope something happened downfield. Like there was no strategy involved with what Pitt was trying to do on offense. They were dead. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't protect Jerkovic. Like they were dead on offense. The only chance they had was to just have him hang out for as long as the refs would allow because everybody was getting held and they didn't call it, and then chuck it downfield and pray that there was a pass interference because they only caught one, maybe two of those chuck it down the field balls.
Yeah, Bub Means was targeted, I think, 11 times and had no catches.
Right.
That's an insane stat.
So that's the reason I agree. I get what you're saying, Aaron, that it's always up for chance. But, in that game, Pitt's offense was dominated.
I'm not disagreeing with that. My point is that one of those plays happens at the end, and all of a sudden it's a different game because Pitt's up 1, and Cincinnati's got to figure something out real quick.
Cincinnati, C-Rex thinks I'm very animated tonight. This is every night.
This is excited. This is excitement.
We got stuff to talk about. It's not fucking summer anymore.
I know. But even more to my point is after some of these fluky plays happened for Pitt, on numerous occasions. One was the Dorian Jones blow up in the backfield after a fluky play on 1st down and 10 for a loss. After a bobble on the snap by Jerkovic. Another was the tackle for loss by Jawan Briggs as he followed the polling guard and just made an unbelievable play in the backfield. And then another was a tackle for loss that Dingle had. Just, literally, the very next play after a fluky play was just dominated plays by Cincinnati.
Yeah. They definitely had the mindset where you have to forget the play before, and they played very well in that regard.
Yeah. I don't think Cincinnati really had any fluky plays at all.
I don't either. What was I don't know what was fluky on anything. Well, I guess the Braden Smith catch was he gets his knee down probably 1 out of 25 times.
That was nasty.
He got the absolute smallest amount of knee you could get down in the smallest amount of space, which just happened to be where Armand Benz, the exact spot. Yep. Where Armand Benz caught the touchdown pass in 2009.
Calm
down, Brent. Somebody needs to go cut that 4x4 foot square of grass out of OK Sure Stadium and bring it back to Cincinnati because we own that spot.
Yep.
We own that spot. Yes, I think they were Big 12 refs. Okay. That's terrifying, by the way.
Royer, how hard is it to make over not only over the shoulder, but over the helmet catch that Braden Smith hauled in there? Oof.
it's like the adjustment over the shoulder where you have to like go blind for a second and find the ball on your other shoulder. It's one of the harder catches. It's harder than like doing like a one-handed catch. Like that's pretty routine for guys at this level. It is the hardest catch that you'll see, that style. It's just pure. It was. I love the throw. I love the catch. It was just when I rewatched it, I was like, damn, that's just good ass fucking ball, dude. And I love seeing it.
Yes, I know. A couple of highlight plays. Let's talk defensive line real fast. First off, how on earth did Djokovic hold on to that football when Eric Phillips absolutely blew him up?
It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. I don't understand the physics of it.
Unbelievable.
Like I said this on the nightcap Saturday. I truly believe at the point, like when it happened, that he somehow let go of the ball and it fell like right back to him when he went to the ground.
Yeah.
There was no concept in my mind that he did not let go of that football at any point when Phillips hit him. No, like it's impossible that he held on to that ball.
I think we can all agree if Tiny Hands Kenny Pickett had been in that situation, he does not hold on to that ball.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. But it does wear gloves, so maybe he put a little extra stick him on before this game. But no, that was unbelievable. Just recovery and hit by Phillips too. Never giving up on the play type situation. And I thought Briggs had one of his better games as a Bearcat. He was constantly in the backfield, constantly disrupting the play. Had a sack, had that big tackle for loss. Dante Corleone, baby, the Godfather, yet again dominating in the backfield a bunch. Had that awesome sack, that Big Daddy pick you up and throw you down sack. And boy, oh boy, they are awesome to watch. But
my favorite quote from Dante in his post-game presser was, in the fourth quarter, they just start single blocking me, and I still don't understand why.
Briggs was murdering them. They
Briggs
had
was
to.
Unreal.
Like they didn't have a choice. Briggs was murdering them on every snap. So they had to slide at least a little bit to Briggs, which leaves, and that's what teams are going to have to face all season.
And then Dante got to eat. So
pick one.
Which one?
Pick one.
Which one? Right.
Yeah. Well,
because you've only got 5 linemen. Are you going to double team both of them? You're going to use 4 guys to block Briggs and Corleone. Good luck with Brian Brown's blitzing. Like, I don't think that's right, Asiago. Jim Kelly said that they were Big 12 refs, and I trust Jim Kelly.
And so, hello. So I want to mention, of course, first off, shouts to our boy Nico Palizzetti. I don't think that anyone's made a better decision than to let's trim down Jawan and put you in your best shape of your life situation, because that man he's out there playing like a man possessed this year. And when you have him with the Godfather, that's amazing. And the step that Phillips has made as well. Yeah.
He's got a new mouth to feed. He's trying to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got all the motivation in the world. 3 little ones that he's trying to feed and put diapers on.
Exactly.
He's got all the motivation.
And then last but not least, Big 12 crew last night. All right, how about that? But Chad, you're muted. You're muted, Chad. You're muted.
I know it's the dogs. They got me all messed up. Kelsey's in bad shape. She had a bad night. She got ear-holed by a serve in warm-ups.
Ooh.
And then tripped over a girl running for a save and landed straight on her hip pointer. So she's pretty much like bedridden upstairs right now. And I know tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I'm going to hear, Dad, I can't walk. Like, I can't go to school today. I can't walk. So those things are coming. So I might have to mute more because the dogs are down here getting after it in the living room.
Some ice? You get some ice on that hip?
Ice, met a little ice and heat and a little bit of ibuprofen and trying to get her going. But she got ear-holed pretty good right before the start of the match. And then
nothing worse.
Late second set, right on her hip. Like she was hauling ass to make a save, and tripped over the girl's foot that had hit the initial ball and right on the hip on a very non-forgiving surface. So it's not a great night in the Brendel house, but Jim Kelly says Big 12 crew, and I believe anything Jim Kelly says.
I love it. So we highlighted all of these defensive linemen, and I was just listening and reading some things leading up to it, and Russ Heltman, shout to Russ, a guy who covers the Bearcats as well. He mentioned that the highest graded PFF defensive player on the team was actually Malik Mann. So you have all these amazing performances along the defensive line, and yet it's Malik that is the one who did his role to perfection as well.
That's the problem you're going to have with this line. Yeah. Do you stop Riggs? Do you stop, Corleone? Eric Phillips is becoming a monster. Malik, Watley, and then Greshik coming off the edge, and Dorian Jones blitzing, and Jack Dingle blitzing, and all of a sudden, if you're an offensive line, you're just like, what the? I don't understand what we're supposed to do to stop this, and that will maybe be. I won't say the best, but that's going to be one of the top 2 or 3 offensive lines that they face this season. They made them look dreadful. Dreadful.
That's all even without mentioning Deshaun Pace living in the backfield. So.
Right. And Brian Threats, who's everywhere. He runs 2,000 more yards a game than everybody else. A practice, but that's factual statement. Brian Threats runs 2,000 yards more a practice than everybody else on the team.
Yeah, unbelievable. I do want to bring up real quick, and Royer, your thoughts on this. So, game on the line, obviously. A must get 4th and 9, and Cincinnati sends an all-out blitz. They only dropped 4 into coverage, 7 going after the quarterback. That's when Dingle came away with his sack. I mean, that is aggression that we heard of coming into the season, and that's just, hey, this guy has struggled all game throwing the football. So let's let him have one last Hail Mary, or we're gonna get to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's going to be written in the D coordinator textbook for every situation, but the circumstances of that game, I think it's perfect. One, struggling quarterback, so let's put our guys on their guys. Let's play 4v4. Some of our guys might be a little bit off ball, but they have to get 9 yards. So let's be aware of the sticks, and let's just blitz the absolute shit out of this guy who he's got happy feet. He's been drilled multiple times.
Yeah,
he can't make the
hammered
throw.
all game.
So let's just send the house like that. I would have done that too. I that's what I was on the couch. I was like, send everyone. And I saw Dingle and Debo go. I was like, yes, this is going to be good. This is going to work. Because if you do the math, it's going to be 5-0 linemen versus and a running back.
It's going to be 5-0 linemen and one back.
So someone's untouched. He's
Versus
got to get to him.
6. And if we throw DP, we just want to go straight 4v4, then it's a victory. But when you have 6, you can do. When you blitz 6, you're going to get to the quarterback. It's very
7
likely because it just the offense doesn't.
They sent 7.
It's guaranteed. Yeah, I couldn't remember if DP went or not. I didn't remember.
Yeah,
but
he sucked over
6
the outside.
Is plenty enough too.
Yeah, I mean, we heard aggression, and that was aggression too.
I'm surprised they didn't just. I mean, he looked like we were blitzing.
Look, you guys had maybe the most aggressive defensive coordinator in history.
Check.
You guys had maybe the most aggressive defensive coordinator in history on your staff when you were there, right? And it wasn't Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, Freeman.
No, it wasn't Marcus Freeman.
Who's this?
Tenuta.
I want to hear it.
At one point in time,
Both in Tenuta.
3rd and Tenuta, which meant send the house. Like 3rd and Tenuta is, I think it was Virginia. Was it one of the places he was
Virginia
defensive coordinator?
Tech, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. They called it 3rd and Tenuta because they knew, like, we're sending 7. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. We're sending 7. Did that like
Make them fucking block us.
Still, maybe my favorite higher ground moment ever. Do you remember this, Royer, on Family Day? Have I asked you this?
No, I don't need
When he stood in the tower on Family Day and just screamed explicitives from the tower, like all the way to the field.
Oh, he doesn't.
The entire Family Day. You
motherfuckers! I love him, dude.
I could see that being your grandpa. Like, if you were like, yeah, Danute's my grandpa, I would be like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, I miss him. I hope he's doing well.
You guys are both nuts. But yeah, it was Virginia, Chad. I looked it up. He came back as I think his like grandson played on Virginia Tech. He came back as like a defensive assistant later. But yeah,
he was at Ohio State.
He was.
He was the D coordinator at Ohio State.
He coached for like 40 years. He was everywhere.
Let's see.
His IMDb is deep.
Oh, it's incredible. I'm looking at it right now. So where he has DC by his name, just real fast. Marshall, Kansas State, SMU, Oklahoma, Ohio State, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, NC State, Virginia, and then there's Cincinnati, Virginia Tech. Oh, right now he is coaching DB for the New Orleans Breakers.
No way.
of the USFL.
I have made
guys on that team.
Probably, I don't know. I have made great relationships with a lot of coaches over the years. I tried to get to know Tenuta, and he was just basically like, "No,
fuck off."
Yeah,
no.
I have no interest in talking to you.
James Wiggins. Wiggins is on it. Is on their team.
He's coaching Wig. Him and Wig's dynamic is amazing.
The most smiley, happy human on the planet.
He smiles too much.
And Tenuta.
Dude, Wiggs loved Tenuta.
I'm sure. I bet it was like his dad, essentially.
Yeah.
One of the best Wild Wednesdays was John Tenuta. It was just like,
no, Brett, you know the beauty of that? It was literally 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
He gave them 10 minutes and he took the microphone off. And he was like, they were like, we need a Wired Wednesday for practice today. I don't think they even got to like past like stretching.
Right.
Like, they have the early, like the pre-practice where they're just walking through stuff. And then by the end of stretching, he took everything off and was like, I got to coach practice.
I'm done. Good luck.
Don't give me that Olay bullshit. Him and Lou Brown had the same voice.
Yeah, they did.
Dude, I bet you couldn't even have had like 80% of his practice on.
Right. As I was going to say, it was a lot of...
I wish they would like bleep shit out more. I think it'd be so funny.
Justin and I literally stood like right in that point of higher ground, like that corner of the end zone where the tower's to your right and you're at like the field is to your left, and just listened. Like there's little kids running underneath the tower, like playing in the back behind the back of the end zone, and Tenuta's just motherfucking everybody the whole practice.
Kids got to know that's ball, man. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows when you get to D1 football. It's those coaches do not give a shit.
This is awesome. I love that guy. Even though he would never talk to me, I loved him.
Yeah.
It's not Christmas out here, boys. What?
You had to break him in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Real quick. Well, first off, Ryan, I'm going to pass it to you. Justin Harris filled in for Sammy Anderson out with an injury. Obviously, Taj Ward kind of still learning that safety position. The Warden, though, on the other side, I tell you what, he had himself a game. He, it's coming out there and it's showing out, and it's a young player, Jordan Young, that's obviously getting his first extended time against a Power 5 team. And I thought Jordan Young had himself a good game, and he's proving that he's going to start to slowly figure it out more and more. His dad, good to meet him. He was decked out in a designed shirt, the Warden, JY the Warden. I absolutely loved it. But your overall take and just kind of the DBs, it seemed like it was just a tough game to get a grasp on because, like Chad already mentioned, it was just like throw the ball up, and if they happen to catch it, then they catch it. If not, let's hope they throw a penalty. So it seemed like it was a tough game to really kind of just get a good sense of how to really play the receivers throughout the entire 60 minutes.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw out of the DBs. I don't think they ever really got beat. I think they got hosed a couple times.
I'm with you. Keep going. I'm with you.
They never got beat. They never got beat like straight up. Like they never got routed. They never got mossed. They had that one MA with Taj at the end of the game. Thank God. Well, I don't even know if Taj was involved. I think as much as the fans are gonna bitch and moan about Jay Harris's DPIs, like two of them should be called, and then he responds with one of the biggest plays of the game, the pass breakup that was just unbelievable. And you got to remember, Justin Harris has never been in this breakups. Yeah, never been in this scenario in his career. This stage, getting picked on, and having to fill in for an injured player. So, I mean, like
3 of his pass breakups were balls that the receiver had caught.
Yeah. Oh, Dustin. Yeah.
And he knocked away, including the last one. Balls that the receiver had caught, and he knocked away.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I wish
Keegan
didn't have those PIs, because then you get the respect, like the recognition he deserved for how unbelievably critical and great of a job those.
And that was on 3rd and 9, Chad, that set up the Dingle sack to close up the game.
Real quick, Aaron. How hard is it? Like, you're not a DB, but you're going to understand my question here. How hard is it to defend a chuck and duck where the quarterback? It's not a regular route. It's not like, we saw what he did on regular routes. He broke the ball up when it got there. These are just like the receiver is reacting, you're reacting. Like it's almost impossible for there not to be contact when the ball is just floating in the air.
Your back's turned.
Your back, you're in a horrible position.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing. Man coverage corner is the hardest position, my opinion, on the football field in terms of just pure athletic. Like I'm just talking like if you're going solely based on the athletic requirements, man coverage corner. What?
The Kelseys would agree. They've mentioned it numerous times on their pod. Yeah. So
man coverage corner up on the line. That's the hardest. Sometimes I think off ball is harder, but dealing with the receivers release, it's regardless.
You know what you can do though
to
offset that. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hold on, let Aaron go.
Yeah.
Chad was talking about those pass breakups. Keegan had mentioned it on the nightcap, and I heard it up in the press box as well. But you could hear the Pittsburgh media griping about how those shouldn't have been even categorized as pass breakups. They should have been categorized as drops. It's like that's not what that was. That's not what that was. That's not what that was.
He reached his hand in and took the ball away as you caught it. There's nothing more of a pass breakup than what Justin Harris did 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny to hear them, just kind of bitching and moaning about that.
Right.
And I'm biased because I love Justin Harris. That's my guy.
And we don't mention things that are above our pay grade here, but these snaps that Harris is getting while Sammy's out, it's just valuable. This is he's an old player. He's a guy that's been around the program for a very long time, but for him to get these in-game snaps in a high, that was an adverse situation, backs against the wall. Pitt had all the momentum in the world at home. The loudest that crowd was until they, the only time before was when they played my theme music heading into the 4th quarter. But outside of that, Harris was locked in on that final drive. It was unreal. Yeah.
For all those who remember, he was the one player standing in the end zone as Georgia was receiving their trophy and all of that.
That's actually incorrect.
It wasn't him.
There's one guy seated.
I know why.
He was
the reason that he was there. Right. The reason that he was there that was reported was incorrect, but he was the one who was there. So
yeah, be cooked.
That's how long he's been around.
What was the reason he was there?
Cook was on the bench. Cook didn't leave the bench. He sat there and watched the ceremony. And Justin wasn't going to leave Cook by himself, so
really?
Justin stood in the end zone to wait for Cook.
Good shit from the both of them.
I love
I was holding Bolden back. I was holding Bolden back from trying to reach up and grab a dumbass Georgia fan in the tunnel.
Let him do it.
That's the least surprising thing I've heard come out of that game.
Royer, that's where one of your gifts on the old X.com is from the Georgia game. I think you running out of the tunnel or something.
That was when I almost had to grab Brian Mason by the collar and say, "Why are you taking me out on KOR with the waning seconds of the game? I will score this touchdown for us to win."
Keep me here.
I can't put it any other way. I wasn't out there and we lost, so you take it how you want.
I agree. We'll take that. Man, one last thing on. Gosh, I just love how exotic our offense and defense is. One last thing, we kept on mentioning the motions and kind of confusing the defense. It just amps up with the rushing quarterback and the fact that you have to kind of have it in the back of your mind that Emory can run the football as well. You've got to keep one man always eyeing Emory. So, man, that's just exotic on both sides. Got good specialties. It's all things are heading in the right direction, and momentum could not possibly be stronger for the football team.
Look, we can't stop without talking about the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We can't move on because I think people just have a fan's understanding, which is emotional.
Yeah.
Which is visceral. And I understand that. But if you go back and watch, and I want Ryan's opinion here, I do not think they got soft in the fourth quarter. I think they were trying to do what they had done for the first three quarters, and Pitt finally found a way to shut some of it off for a little while. And give them credit. That's a damn good defense. That's going to be a top 25, 30 defense in the country this year. And Cincinnati kept them off balance for 2.5, pretty much 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, it was Cincinnati trying to push the ball downfield and go deep. No, but guess what? They didn't do that the entire game. This notion that Cincinnati was aggressively pushing the ball downfield and aggressively attacking the Pitt defense was false. That's not how they got to 27-7.
Yeah.
They got to 27-7 by beating the Pitt defense at what the Pitt defense is typically good at. And Pitt stopped a couple drives. And that creates punts, and then that creates opportunity that, give them credit, they took advantage of. But ultimately, it's not that I thought they went into a shell where they run, 3 runs up the gut, and then punt the ball back. I did not see that. Am I wrong, Ryan?
No, you're not. I just thought that, our run game kind of slowed down. But when you're having that success at it, and you're not just going to stop trying it. And I think Pitt kind of put their hands in the dirt and kind of put a little bit of a break on that run game as they needed to. Because
they also run blitzed a shit ton more at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they made adjustments, and we got to make, and part of that is we have to make adjustments. And when we can't go that time period of no points or just not as much time off the clock and no first downs, because there's going to be teams with better quarterbacks and just that are better, that they'll find ways to beat us. But I don't.
There's also not going to be many teams with a better defense. I think that's going to be a top 3 defense Cincinnati plays this season.
Maybe not even 2 or 3.
I hope.
I think Iowa State's still going to be really good on defense. Right. I'm sure somebody in the Big 12 will end up having a really good defense.
They help. Yeah.
But the reality is that's going to be a top 2 or 3 defense. The Dogs are getting after it right now. Like
I love it. I love it.
They were caged up for 5 hours while we were at volleyball, so they are so. But anyhow, but I agree, Ryan. Like you're going to have to score points in the Big 12. But what you're not going to have to deal with is a defense like that actively for about 12 minutes just took away what Cincinnati was using to be successful the entire game. But my point being, though, I do not think they went into a shell. I do not think they just turtled and said, let's end this game and hope that we can get to the finish line. I think Pitt just got a couple stops.
Yeah. And Chad, also, first off, after Cincinnati won, the Bearcat fans turned into dogs and got after it. So I like your little connection that you just made there inside of your own living room because it happened in Pittsburgh as well. But also, so the longest pass play, Cincinnati completed one pass for more than 21 yards in the entire game.
Braden Smith.
And that was Braden Smith. So, they weren't, kind of going air raid like they did against Eastern Kentucky, which shouts to Eastern Kentucky. They gave the Kentucky Wildcats a game on Saturday, which even further just amps me up and had me putting more money than I should on the Bearcats, which turned out to be all right. But it's not like they were going air raid. It was more of a big time, just, they were controlling the line of scrimmage. They had great scheme set up. They had great rushing attack set up. But guess what? Pitt's a good team. Pitt was favored in the game. Pitt's always been a good team. They've been fighting for a bowl. They were in the ACC championship game 2 years ago. Yes, they did have Kenny Pickett, but still, this is a good team that is consistently good and is supposed to have a really good defense. So, yeah, they're going to get stops. But when it came down to it, the bread and butter for Cincinnati coming into the game was Mason Fletcher, who pinned them deep in the fourth quarter a couple of times, and then the defense. And when the defense needed to step up there at the very end, they were able to. I agree, Chad. I don't think they went and do a show. I think, they also were just probably focusing on picking up first downs, doing whatever they could to do it.
Yeah. And look, I get it. Fans are emotional. Fans are drinking. It's 10 o'clock at night. Like your team is clinging to a lead that looks like is going to melt away. I understand the emotional nature of it.
Yeah.
But I think as we get a day, 2 days removed, it's okay to talk everybody down and help them understand that if you watch what they were trying to do on offense, it wasn't going into a shell. It was doing what had been successful and that not necessarily working in the fourth quarter. And then you get the atrocious officiating where, yes, that shit matters. If you should sack the quarterback on 3rd and 7 and they don't call a blatant hold and Pitt converts, then that drive is extended because of the bad officiating. If there's a bad PI call where Justin Harris gets dragged down by his collar and they call defensive pass interference and they get 15 yards, that is officiating impacting the momentum of the game. And that's what happened in the fourth quarter. It is okay to say the officiating has been dog shit, and that is impacting the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
Because it was happening. It was real.
Yep. And it was on the road. And the crowd was getting juiced into it. And like you see in college basketball a lot, those block charge calls really start to go the home team's way. And
those 14,000 fans were fired up.
Right.
They had just sang Sweet Caroline.
Yep. Where's my theme music? But yeah, it was I don't think they went to a show. Roy or Aaron, you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, you said it after the game, you're just trying to win a game. That's it. You're just trying to win a game.
Play to win the game.
You get up 27-7. Let's
get out of here with the dub.
Narduzzi talked about it after the game that they made adjustments at halftime, obviously, and you expect a team like Pitt to make adjustments. You're not going to go up 54-7 or 14 or whatever, like double the score, whatever it was at halftime. You're not going to do that against a Pitt team, especially one that has heralded itself on defense.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
And development, not a complete overhaul of a roster that then faces adversity for the first time, like Cincinnati had. So
and they're at home.
And
it's
like Brent said, how about we give some credit to the Cincinnati defense? Because they said, "Nah, we ain't losing, dog. We ain't losing." Like, you put up your fight. You got your 2 touchdowns that you didn't really deserve, but you got them. We're not letting you get the third in the second half to win this game. Pass breakup, pressure, sack, check, and then run out the final 4 minutes of the clock. How about we give the Cincinnati offense some credit on that?
On that drive.
They didn't give Pitt the ball back.
No.
Narduzzi even said after the game that he still doesn't believe his team has any weaknesses. So that said, I mean, take that for what you will, but
yeah.
Then he did say that, but then he went on to talk about the weaknesses that his team faced in this game. So I don't know. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth in that regard, but whatever.
And he's still frustrated about the booing of his starting quarterback as well.
It's still, the second question in his presser was, did you consider taking out your quarterback? To which he responded, no. And that was his only response to that question. But yeah, I mean, it's a good team. And again, you get up 20-7, and sure, you get excited about we're going to blow this team out. But yeah, no, Pitt's a good team. And that was never on the docket for this game, is blowing this team out. Cincinnati's still finding their way and establishing identity as to who they are. And it was not going to be a dismantling of the Pittsburgh Panthers on their own home field.
Yep. What it ended in was the second win of the Coach Scott Satterfield era, a 27-21 victory, another cover. Good teams win, great teams cover. And that sets
Comfortable
up.
cover.
Comfortable, yeah.
Essentially a 2-touchdown cover.
Both of them, yes. Talk about a 66-13 cover followed up by another double cover. It's just, great job. But sets up what's going to be a pretty fantastic night this upcoming Saturday. Anything more on the Pitt game, Royer, Aaron, Chad?
No. Does Royer have questions?
Either way, before we get to riffing with Ryan, let's go ahead and timestamp that.
I do not do questions.
Okay. No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Can you hear me?
That timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next-day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Now we are on to Miami, or on to fake Miami. It is another rendition of the battle for the victory belt. 16 straight victories for the good team, for the good boys, right? Cincinnati, 16 straight, Chad, I think, if I counted it right.
16 in a row, yes.
Yeah, 16 straight. Miami comes in, though. Obviously they've got experienced quarterback, one that Cincinnati fans will remember. But kind of, obviously had that rough game against the U week 1. I'm sure Chad, you and then they beat UMass, the big UMass win. But aside from that, Brett Gabbert's back at quarterback. Their receivers, it's pretty funny spread out receiving. Their top receiver, Gage Larvaden, has 16 catches, 353 yards, and 3 touchdowns. After that, there's 2 guys with 2 catches and then 3 with 1 catch. So it's pretty one. Put JY the Warden on Gage Lavardane, and
the question here is clear. Can Miami withstand Cincinnati's pass rush?
Right.
Because they don't have a great rushing attack.
No.
Like they want to throw the ball. Is Blaine Gabbert going to be able to stand back there and try to,
Not Blaine.
or
Maybe if they brought back
Blaine.
Brett Gabbert.
Brett Gabbert.
If they brought back Blaine to college from one where maybe.
There's too many of them. Too many of them. Blake is the oldest one, right?
Maybe. No, Blaine Gabbert is the oldest one. He's the NFL guy.
Okay. I don't know where I thought Blake from. That's me. That's on me.
You're good.
I'm trying to calm down these dogs. My bad.
Hey. You're good.
But are you going to be able to just comfortably stand in the pocket and pick apart the Cincinnati defense? Like, I wish you luck.
Yeah.
I wish you luck.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, too, this is going to be a ruckus atmosphere. It's going to be popping. A nip at night, projected good weather, I believe. It's going to be rowdy. And
it's going to get a little, I think it's going to get down into like the 50s. So might be a little chilly around third, fourth quarter.
Hey, that's football weather. That's football weather.
Might have to put a hoodie in the bag.
Saturday currently 79 degrees as a high, 51 as a low.
Okay. I like. Hey, that's nice. That's nice.
That's temps dropping as soon as that sun sets. That's temps dropping.
What's that? Football weather music? Yeah, that's that football weather music right there. Bring them out. Yeah, Aaron. Thank you, Asiago. I knew I was missing something. Aaron, before we do completely move on, you were in the press room for the Emory Jones on the mic. Answering questions left and right. The Godfather, Dante Corleone, comes in and take it away from there, Aaron.
First off, I don't know what the hell these stadiums, any of them, are doing with these cheap-ass chairs that they have. It seems like more often than not, there's these cheap-ass fold-up chairs that are not – they're all in places that football players would be, but not one of them are made to support a football player.
I'm afraid to sit in them.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So poor Dante comes in and he's he's changed out of his uniform and he just comes in trying to be quiet because Emory's talking, tries to go sit down until it's his turn to talk. He's probably tired. He's been pushing Pitt Panthers around for hours. And he tries to sit down, and the chair said, "Nah, fam, not today." Chair folds like a wet paper bag.
Yep.
And Dante finds himself on the floor with, one strapping young gentleman, Zach Stipe, having to help him up.
That was a phenomenal picture of him helping up Dante.
That was something to watch in and of itself. Chair gets thrown away, and perhaps it ends up going to the trash somewhere in Pittsburgh. Perhaps it made a ride home to Cincinnati somehow. All I'm saying is that chair is going to go down in lore some way, somehow.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw it and I because someone said Dante broke a chair. I imagine it was in the celebration in the locker room. And instead, the locker room celebration was all about Coach Scott Satterfield putting on Dorian Jones glasses,
yeah,
which is unbelievable yet again. Look that up if you can. What are those sunglasses? They're one lens the entire way through. Good look. Good look for Coach Scotty Sat. But yeah, Aaron, that was you a scene to behold. You guys got it on camera. That was just awesome.
That was all Keegan. That was all Keegan. I felt bad for Emory though, because here he is trying to answer questions, never lost poise, as a true quarterback should, I suppose. And I'm sure he couldn't wait to get out of there at that point. Like, what are we doing here?
I love it though, because this season continues on this special direction. That's gonna be something they look back at, laugh at, and just it'll be a story that continues on forever.
That would be legendary. Like if you had a fantasy football league, how about that for your championship trophy? The Dante Corleone folded chair. It'd be legendary.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, you should have taken that, Aaron.
I didn't.
You should have hung it up in the back of your back.
That would have been a great.
I didn't take it, but like I said, perhaps it made its way out of that stadium somehow.
Ooh.
Which that's some cojones to just walk out of a stadium with something that at one point, broken or not, belonged to the stadium, property of.
Yeah, well, who knows? Could potentially sit right next to the non-traveling trophy that is staying.
Hang it from the
lever, the levy
from the lever.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be great.
Well, speaking of traveling trophies that doesn't really travel too often, especially in recent seasons.
Not anymore.
Battle for the Victory Bell. We were kind of touching on it. Royer, you took part in the Battle for the Victory Bell. Just come on. We want to hear what you got to say. Miami.
It means a lot. I think the previous staff did a great job of emphasizing the rivalry, and it's a cultural rivalry between the two schools, the two programs, kind of what we base ourselves off of. And I really think that from how we've talked to Nico, that this program's in that same mindset. So I think they really need to keep tapping into that this is a rivalry for a reason. Their program carries themselves, their university carries themselves in ways that are a lot different from ours. And speaking from my own opinion, different in a bad way. And I think there's the brand at Cincinnati is just a way different brand. And when you go play a team like that, I think from the moment you're on the field, you kind of feel like why you guys are branded so differently and why the rivalry exists, because it's real. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to remember how serious rivalries are when one team dominates. You kind of look at the Ohio State, Michigan, how Ohio State beat up on Michigan for so many years in a row, and people were starting to question the rivalry. And then now you see Michigan come back, and you kind of feel how that hatred for those teams are kind of building back up again. But when you're a player on the inside of it, that hatred is always there, just because you know what it's about. And it's one of the most it's one of the oldest traditions in college football, the Victory Bell. It means a lot to us, and I'm hoping, and I believe that this staff's going to do that justice, because it's even us being in the Big 12 now. It's even more of like a conference jump, but I don't think that'll never affect kind of what it means to the players and the alumni and the people on the inside.
Yeah. I mean, this is a classic look ahead game. And that's what the Miami coaching staff can kind of hammer if they want. It's the fact that, like there's a massive game coming up the next day. I mean, the next week. Sorry, I had a random video come on my headphones. But it's Oklahoma the week following, big noon kickoff on Fox. It's already been discussed, already been announced. But it's a rivalry game, and you've got to get everyone locked in. You've got to come out and just prove your dominance and go from there. Yeah,
it being a rivalry, I think it eliminates that trap game
right
scenario, or at least definitely weakens it, because it's a big deal. I mean, it always was a big deal, and Gino would always get up there and damn near cry talking about how important it is and how big of a deal the stark difference in cultures are to him and to all the teams that came before us. So being that we have a guy like Walt on the staff, I think that's huge. Kerry Combs, who knows Cincy, who knows the program, knows its importance. I think all those guys are going to do a good job of emphasizing that. I think it's really going to we're going to be primed. We're going to be ready to go. We're not going to be in there looking to we want to go beat the shit out of these guys, and we're looking to stomp them out for every touchdown that we can. So the guys they're not going to be playing cupcake, waiting for a layup game. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's good when you have Dante, Jawan, Gavin as captains on the team, and then Emery, who's trying to make a statement on in his last college season. So, yeah, the focus will be there. It's especially being at Nip and Nip at night. Get in, do your business, and go. But Royer, I want to know your thoughts on this. So, Aaron, line opened at 17, I believe, right? Or was it 16 and a half?
Opened at 17, and I believe it's already slid down to 14.
Yeah, it's at 14 right now. It's gone 3 points.
I'm getting on right now. Hold on. I'm serious.
Yeah, it's just that's the puzzling thing.
With an over-under at 40. Over-under is at 46 and a half.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what Vegas thinks they know about this team. They've been wrong.
Well,
they've been royally
especially with
wrong
ESPN's
on
FPI.
everything.
ESPN's FPI has projected Cincinnati now at 9 wins and 3 losses. So I don't know what Vegas is doing.
Miami lost at Miami 38-3. Had 50 rushing yards. I don't know. Yeah, and like you said, Aaron, like it's a game where Cincinnati's not ranked in the AP or the coaches poll, but in the metric polls, they're really starting to really warm up to the Bearcats. They've got them right there in the top 25, top 20, sometimes even in the top 10, and just based off of performance grades and whatnot. So yeah, as Vegas continues to sleep, as Royer scrolls through all of his different betting apps
on the spread,
all through the betting apps, yeah.
Realistically, you shut down Larverdane, who has 16 of Gabbert's 24 completions.
Yeah.
He has 353 of Gabbert's 429 yards.
One of those was a 99-yard touchdown catch.
And he has 3 of the 4 touchdowns that Gabbert's thrown.
One was 99 yards.
Again, just all you have to do is stop Larverdane, and I don't know that Miami has an offense.
I don't know. I don't want to harp too much on it, but yeah, it just seems that it's just a very puzzling thing. But so was 21.5 for EKU, and so was, quite honestly, 8 and then 6.5 against Pitt. So we'll see. It's a battle for the victory bell. It is a rivalry game. Got to get the staff large and involved. But you heard it on here. Nico asked you, Ryan, and asked about the Miami rivalry game. And he was genuinely listening and genuinely, taking in, soaking it all in. And you bring up the fact as well that, the past history that Coach Scott Satterfield has coaching at App State and just knowing what it's like to have the ability to be spoiler, if you will, against the Power 5 teams. But I think everyone knows the direction I'm going when it comes to this Saturday. So big, exciting kickoff, Nip at night. Action is going to be packed. And then before you know it, it will be the massive week the following week. Anything more on says about Mac Hippenheimer? Yeah, but those games were both like it wasn't a win that was really in doubt. Last game where Cincinnati struggled was the pick 6 to close it out. Malik Clements.
Not only did we struggle, we should have lost.
Yeah.
The streak should have been ended.
Dead in the water. Thank you, Chuck Martin. Dead in the water.
That was that was my first year on the team. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I couldn't believe that we were that bad. One, that we were that bad, that we played that bad.
Yep.
and that we won.
Ivan was on that team, right?
Yeah,
No.
on Miami.
On Miami, yeah.
No, he wasn't.
No,
No,
he
not
wasn't.
on that.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
They bust the whole team to Miami. So I didn't travel my first year, but they put us there in our jerseys, all the walk-ons, and we're like, holy shit, are we really gonna lose? Like they bust our dumbasses out here to lose. They bust out the fucking Make-A-Wishes. You gotta win if you do that.
Lose, you guys did not though. I mean, then there was that monsoon game at Paul Brown, 21-0 win.
God, yeah, that was insane.
Oh, it was terrible. Then it was 35-13, then 49-14, then 38-17. So hasn't really been in shouting distance since that game at Oxford back in 2017.
Yeah, I feel like we've always been just like so close, just like stomping the shit out of them, and then like we don't get that one touchdown, and they get one more.
Right, right.
And they always like kind of like hang around, and we always don't play like our best game to make it like a 50-pointer or like a 6 touchdown, tough stuff like that.
Rivalry. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's the part that's rivalry's at it now. So yeah, I mean, even the year it was 49-14, obviously a blowout, the college football playoff year, but I mean, even still, they should have won that game 190-0. That should have been the cast by 90 game, but hey, you still let them score 14 points in that game. Come on now. Either way, but yeah, I mean that's about all I've got on Miami. Chad, I'm sure you guys will go in depth on that when it comes to time coming up, but yeah, that's all I got for now.
All right, that's a quick paper supply timestamp. Your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins, etc. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick at 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. Let's roll into basketball recruiting real fast, Chad. You mentioned coaches are back out on the trail, on the board, on the old X.com. It's been, you've been seeing the coaches at certain different locations, checking out different players here and there. What more do you have on that front? And is this kind of just similar to what we saw back when they were really going after McKinley early and trying to just kind of continue to set up those connections with players throughout every class?
No, I mean they're in the closing stretch on the 2024 class, and if you'd like more info on that, I would suggest you go to bearcatjournal.com.
Okay, all right, it's on X.com, so I thought we would dive into it. There was a few that were mentioned on there.
Well,
by other people.
Well, I mean they're out. Yeah, they're out, but of course, like. That's what the staff is set to do at this point, is go out and watch as many kids as possible. They went and saw LeBaron Philon and Jasper Johnson at Link Prep. Wes was there on Saturday. He was in Cleveland Sunday looking at some young guys. He saw a priority target today that is fresh off a visit to Michigan State. Yeah, I mean, I would just suggest
head on over
if
there.
you want to know what's going on the basketball recruiting front. Like, look, we're the cow. We can't give all the milk away for free, Brent.
I hear you, man.
We gotta keep something in the udder.
Right. I got you. Yeah. Okay. Head over there. I guess I won't say anything more. But what about? I guess that's it. We can timestamp basketball recruiting.
I mean, timestamp. We just did that.
I'm joking.
Don't worry about it, Aaron. You're fine.
I wasn't.
Well, if that's all we got, then I guess we can roll into the mailbag.
There's plenty of questions here, so let's get moving. Starting off in the football portion of the mailbag. Goodness, I have to scroll. We are 34th in the AP and 41st in the coaches poll. Do we get into the top 25 with an impressive win over Miami and a 3-0 record, or do we have to beat Oklahoma and go 4-0 to crack the top 25? As always, I think that this one's going to depend on what the other teams above you do.
My answer is no.
I think we'll be unranked.
There are no good games this weekend. Next weekend is a absolute barn burner of a weekend, but this weekend I think there's like 2 games that feature top 25 versus top 25, and outside of that, there's no like real there's like 2 games that are inside of a 10-point spread heading into Saturday.
If you beat Miami by a score similar to the EKU game, still nothing?
No. I think this will be a game, a weekend where everyone is just slowly preparing for the following weekend, because that's when all the big games are. I mean, you look at that.
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I just muted chat. I think he was talking to the dogs or Kelsey. I think that, truthfully, because I think that the media is always trying to do some things for ratings purposes. I would not at all be surprised if Cincinnati cracks at 25-24, simply to say, oh, look, here now is 2 top 25 teams facing off in historic Nippert Stadium. Yeah. That would not surprise me, especially if there's 6 losses ahead of Cincinnati, and if they beat the brakes off Miami, and you can justifiably slip them into the top 25. There were 2 people who in the voting today that had Cincinnati on Sunday that had them in the top 25. So
that's how you receive others receiving votes. Right. Yeah, it's I mean, Iowa, who's 25th, plays Western Michigan. 24th UCLA plays North Carolina Central. 23rd is Washington State. They play Northern Colorado. 22nd is Miami. They play Bethune-Cookman. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I do agree with you. Like I agree with you, but it's just, it's not like Cincinnati's 26 and they're just waiting to, hop in. I mean, Duke plays Northwestern. North Carolina plays Minnesota, which is the first decent chance for a top 25 team to win. Then Oklahoma plays Tulsa. It's a pretty poop weekend.
Well, moving on. The ESPN FPI now has us ranked 24th and at a 9-win projection. Revisit your earlier win projections and call out the other 7 wins we need to get to 9. P.S. The ESPN FPI has the most accurate, non-biased look and feel than any other ranking, in my opinion. Got the schedule pulled up.
They want us to pick the 7 other wins.
7 other wins for Cincinnati.
The ESPN FPI is and always has been awful. Let's not pretend like it's good just because it has Cincinnati in it this week. We have mocked that forever.
I think that Baylor becomes Baylor, Iowa State, Miami.
UCF,
Kansas.
if Reese Plumlee's out.
I think Oklahoma's more likely than Kansas at this point.
Yeah,
Kansas. Have you watched Jalen Daniels, Royer?
I just know.
Have you watched Jalen Daniels play football?
Kansas coming to Nipper in December, in November, end of the year.
If Jalen Daniels is playing for some reason, then I'm with you. If Jalen Daniels is playing, that is a monster. He's so good, man.
He is, but he hasn't played yet, has he?
He played last week, and he was fucking incredible.
Else.
Oh yeah, no, it was week 1 he didn't play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Houston on the road. UCF now with John Rice Plumlee out for multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Who knows what that does to their season? Iowa State, I think Cincinnati can very much win. Baylor, I think Cincinnati can very much win. Oklahoma State is not unattainable. Again, it goes back to they don't play the top 4 of the top 5 most talented teams in the league.
Yep.
So
Texas, who's maybe one
no
of the best teams
Texas,
in the
no
country.
Kansas
Good
State,
shit.
no TCU. You know, like I picked 7. I'm starting to feel better about 7+.
8.
Yeah.
8. Yeah.
I just
I
needed
said
5.
8, 9.
I'm feeling really good.
Devin Neal also for Kansas
Give me
has
my
had
money.
a really good start to the year. Running back, 10 carries, 120 yards and a touchdown last week.
Kansas offense is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah. But yeah,
All right.
all of us who drank the Kool-Aid early, Kool-Aid still
Let's
tastes
get him
really
versus the Godfather gang at the end of November.
good. Yeah. Black Friday.
All right. What are the biggest surprises for each of you so far?
Ooh. Kiner quickly establishing himself
offense
as the
is
lead back.
just revamp the look.
Yeah, I think
I'll
I
say
didn't think the offense would be this good, have this many layers to it.
yeah.
But
I'll
do
say
you
the
agree,
offensive
Ryan? I
line.
think that comes off Corey. Like Corey has added that element of like give this guy the ball and he can kind of carry you a little bit.
Mine's been the O-line cemented this week, the receivers that we've been kind of expecting the surprise to come from them. Emory Jones, I think, has been way better on the run, immediate game, and just overall just quarterback play than I expected. And just the overall like the option look, I did not expect. I expected more of like the outside zone. I wasn't expecting like speed option, triple option motion,
Inside
double option
zone.
motion. Like
A lot of inside
yeah.
zone.
And inside zone was the one that was Corey was going off on.
Right.
Yeah. So that's mine. Yeah.
I say offensive line for me. So
Yeah. I think they've been good at what we anticipated they were going to be good at. Like they were run blocking really well throughout camp. So I thought we felt good about that. They've been okay pass blocking. I thought, Pitt caused problems, but that's one of the best pressure defenses in the country. So it'll be interesting to see here's what I'll say, Aaron, in agreement with you, but like in terms of like looking forward, the Eastern Kentucky defense was not a test at all.
no, I agree.
Pitt defense was an extreme test.
Right.
And they've kind of been in the middle. I'm really interested to see what they look like against kind of an average Power 5 defensive line or like defense. You know what I mean?
Like a Baylor.
Like a Baylor, like a kind of Oklahoma, like that
BYU.
Oklahoma BYU, right? Like, so if they look like they have looked so far against an average P5 defense, then yeah, the offensive line is we're going to be onto something. And we're going to be talking about Nick Cardwell and how awesome he has been at salvaging something that was a disaster last year.
All right. Brent, did you have one?
No, that offense is just sexy, and I love the defense getting after it as well.
Very good. All right, question for Ryan. I think there's like 5 of them in here specifically for you today, Ryan. Do the players like the catwalk, and what is the funniest thing you've heard being yelled out by fans, and what is the meanest thing you've heard during the walk?
Yeah, we love the catwalk. It's awesome. Funniest thing, just literally just screaming. You don't hear a lot. The one thing that I loved was this lady had a mini victory bell that we could ring. I wouldn't call it funny, but it was probably the funnest or most fun, I should say.
That's the Republic
no
of
mean
Cincinnati,
things are ever said because it's all Bearcats fans. It's all that little bell is pretty cool. I like that thing. But yeah, there's no mean stuff. that's about it. You can go on.
Another question for Ryan. What's the typical game day routine for the team before they get to campus for catwalk and into Nipper?
Yeah.
Like, what time was report time Friday to head to the hotel on Med Campus, dinner, Friday night activities, etc.?
Okay. So we had a hour-long practice, basically a walkthrough style. I think we were on the field around 1:30 or 2-ish. And then we would do that. We'd go watch film. We'd shower up, and then we'd go to the hotel, and we'd go up to our room, put our stuff down, go back down. By that time, we have like 30 minutes, go back down for dinner. And at dinner, we will Coach Fickle would talk for a couple minutes, and then we'd do a team prayer with a pastor that would travel with us. Obviously, you were free to participate or not if you wanted to or not. And then we had a Joel the Blanco prayer after following that. Joel Blanco had his script, and he would do that. Then we'd eat the good food at the hotel after that. Then they did milkshakes. So it'd be milkshakes, and we'd just hang out, and we'd go play cards. And basically you did that from like, you just got to either watch a movie, play cards, they had like Xboxes, you could just chill. And occasionally, like for brief times, you'd go watch some film with like Coach Fickle or Coach Mason or your D coordinator or your O coordinator, just like quick refreshers. And then I think bed check was always at like 9:30. So we'd go up to our room, and then Coach Fick would knock on everyone's door and come in and like make sure we're in there. But then it would just be like us fucking with them. Like guys would play pranks on him. Like they would like just have their ass out when he walked, like laying on oh, dude, it was Dylan O'Quinn and Tyvan Fawson. Yeah, they would do the funniest shit to him. But then the next morning we'd wake up, just depending on when the game was. So like early mornings, like early games, we'd wake up at like 7 and go down to breakfast, then walk through, and then have a snack, and then basically come back down for kick meetings. And then it was Coach Fickle talked, and then we went to the stadium, and then got to the stadium, and then it was just, warm-ups, all that shit. And then if we played at different times, we'd get like a break before we went down to kick meeting based on what time kickoff was. But it's go, go, go. You get to relax at night after dinner, but you wake up and it's kind of like it's go time. You get to the catwalk. But yeah, that's about it.
There you go. Full rundown. Thanks, Ryan.
Love it, Ryan.
Gotta give the fans what they want.
Hey, what they want.
Are our corners taught to not turn and look for the ball? It happened a lot Saturday and leads to a lot of penalties. Is this because they don't have great ball skills?
It happened a lot Saturday and also resulted in a lot of pass breakups because they played the catch. And they dislodged the ball from the receiver, which are great ball skills. I
don't mean to be offensive, but our corners have been doing this for every 5 years with Fickle. So this is what it's man defense is. Anytime you're running man, which will probably run over 75% of the time, the corners are taught to turn into the receiver, and basically, like I was talking about with Dingle earlier, you react to the hands. You're not going to see a lot of picks unless it's like quick routes.
That's where the frustration lies from the fans is the
unless
fact
you're
that
Sauce Gardner,
interceptions.
Unless you're Sauce, who was elite and was so good in coverage. But guess what? Sauce also did a ton. Played the ball and knocked it away from the receiver.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say hung out on the side where they didn't throw the ball.
Yeah, well, that's why they stopped throwing at him, because you couldn't complete anything because he can do both things.
Yeah.
Right?
It opens up the door for safeties and maybe the occasional like linebacker interception. You're not going to see a ton of interceptions out of our corners unless they're playing off or they're playing like cover 2 and stuff like that.
Zone, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is a long question. It looks like 3 main questions.
We answered it mostly.
We did. But did it feel like once we got up 27-7, the coaches basically parked the bus and tried to salt the game out, picking it back up late in the fourth when Pitt found themselves back in the game? I know we touched on that quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything anybody else wants to add here to that before we go to the second part of the question.
Look, the job of being up 27-7 is to get to 27-26 when the clock hits 0.
To get home with the win, right?
You're on the road. You're playing against a quality opponent. Win the game. Get on the plane. Fly back to Cincinnati. Like, that's the job.
Run the ball because we've been running it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to think, let's take some risk here and get some turnovers.
Right.
That's how you really lose the game.
That's the thing that blows my mind. Like, the game plan in the fourth quarter up 27-7 should be air raid.
Run that fucker.
They threw one pass over 21 yards, like Brent said, the entire game.
I'm sure that this isn't a huge part of the game plan, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that you're playing a big game against Oklahoma where you don't want to open up the playbook too much.
You don't worry about Oklahoma at Pitt. No. But
not when you have a 20-point lead is what I'm saying. Like, that's not when you open up the playbook.
Not what I'm saying is that's not in your thought process. Like, you're just trying to get to the end of the game. Oklahoma's not really like in your mind at that point. But the other point being, like, you continue doing what had worked. Like, good on Pitt to stop some of that in the fourth quarter. Like congratulations to them on adjusting their game plan and having the guys on their team make a couple plays. But the reality is they just continued doing what had worked for 45 minutes. It just didn't work a couple times in the fourth quarter when it had essentially worked the rest of the entire game. Like, that's not, they didn't park the bus. They didn't go into a turtle shell and run the ball up the middle 3 times and punt. Like, that is parking the bus. They were trying to convert third downs. They were trying to actively not be in second and long and third and long. Pitt just played pretty good defense in the fourth quarter.
The follow-up question to this is, on that note, do you feel like if we would have kept up the production from the first half, staying focused on being locked in and going 20-7 in the second half for a final score of 40-7, people would be talking about the Bearcats more and giving us more AP votes?
No, they would say it was a bad loss for Pitt.
Yeah, Pitt sucked. Like, Pitt isn't as good as we think they are, is what they would have said.
It does take a win against, like, Oklahoma, a ranked team, in order for people to be like, uh-oh, look out. Like, there was one, like, Kirk Herbstreit gave him flowers, Pat Forty gave him flowers, but outside of that, no, you gotta beat a ranked
team.
It
was. The narrative is Pitt isn't as good as we thought they might be.
Yeah.
And that kind of ended it. That's how national narratives work.
Right.
And then I know this question was answered a bit in the chat on the boards here, but final question is a rules clarification that maybe Ryan can provide the best insight on. I thought if the momentum of a player carried them into the end zone with the ball on punt coverage, that it would end up being a touchback. What is the dividing line on what should be a touchback versus not? I thought the one on Saturday should have been a touchback, but they ended up putting it on the 1-yard line as he fell into the end zone after establishing.
Essentially, in college, you just have to, like, catch it and pause. And he did that.
Yeah. You can catch it with both feet in the end zone if the ball is not breaking the plane.
Yeah.
Correct?
There you go.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as the ball is not broken the plane, as long as you catch it and, like, pause, then the ball is placed where it was when you caught it and paused.
You'll see some guys go try to bat it, and if you bat it, it's not where you make contact with the bat. You have to then bat it so that it stays away from breaking the plane.
It's kind of
And
like
then
a
whenever
touchdown,
it's-
right? Like the nose of the ball can't break the plane.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the clarification, everyone. What was more surprising win? The win versus Pitt, the win in the Rose Bowl versus UCLA. Any other honorable mention? The past two coaching tenors.
UCLA.
Definitely. Yeah, UCLA. The first
I
time.
think it's UCLA as well.
Look,
Yeah.
as we have talked about, that 2017 team should have been 1-11.
Right.
You guys were dog shit. You're terrible. And like that's just they should have lost to Miami. They should have lost every game but one, which was the FCS game, I believe, that year. And then to show up at the Rose Bowl and physically beat the shit out of UCLA was shocking. That was a team.
That was Chip Kelly, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's a high flying offense. Anytime Chip Kelly's involved.
DTR, Dorian Thomas Robinson, or whatever the hell DTR that's in the NFL now. Like there was no business to believe UC had any chance to win that game based on what we knew going into that season. And I don't know that the next 5 years look like the next 5 years if you guys don't win that game, Ryan.
All right.
Right. No, I want Ryan on this. How much different was the locker room on that plane? How much different was everything on that plane?
It solidified everything that we thought we knew. And sometimes if you lose that game, you're like, wait,
what we believed was a lie. Uh-oh.
We lost Ryan.
That was Chip Kelly's debut.
Oh, you're back, Ryan. Well, there you are.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry, my internet's being a little weird right now.
Basically, what I was saying was that
we're here, like this, like we're gonna shock the world and if you lose that game, you'll question all that work you put in, all that confidence you build up, like to change this program. If we don't find a way to win, you're like, damn, like it was really kind of like we burned the ships, like for that game to prove not only like we wanted to prove it to ourselves the most, not to anyone else, like that our work paid off. And if you don't win that game, it's kind of like, damn, was that work real? Like you start questioning it. So I do agree, Chad. That win really propelled us.
A follow-up. Vic going for it on fourth down, and how many times he went all in. Like that makes you guys believe in your coach, right? Like this crazy motherfucker has our back.
Yeah. 100% right.
I thought it changed everything. Like, I don't know where this program is at if you guys don't win that game at UCLA.
Yeah.
And going into the Pitt game, there was a lot of people that thought I wanted to flip my pick, but I wanted to be true to I want them to show me that they can go into Pitt and win this game.
Yeah,
so I'm going to pick Pitt.
Yeah.
I wanted to show me that they have the cojones to do this, and they did. I don't think we're not shocked tonight. We are not shocked on this podcast that they beat Pitt.
They definitely were
shocked.
capable.
We were shocked that you guys beat UCLA.
Oh, we weren't, dude. We were like, we're gonna win this. There's no way we lose. We were all like psyched. We were all like brainwashed.
I know, but my point is, from our seat, you were fucking terrible in 2017.
I know. It's funny though.
Quick guess the spread, guys. What do you think the spread was of that game going into it?
It was double digits, wasn't it?
Yeah, the
UCLA plus
13
and a half.
Pretty damn good. What?
What is it? What was it?
I was waiting for your guess, Chad.
12 and a half.
All right, it was 14. So
All right.
Very close.
Yep.
Very close, guys. And this one was 6.5. And if you didn't hammer it, then go bad for you.
All right. Was part of the new rule changes to not call penalties on obvious holds by the opposing offensive line 2 games in, and it's been bad.
It's not. Here's the thing that blows my mind.
Sorry.
It was not holds. It was grabs. Like it was, you beat me, and I'm going to grab the shit out of you.
There were some blocks in the back too on the pursuit of when you got past that first line of defense. There was some real bad blocks in the back too.
Like holds are objective. Like it's like some crews are a little bit tighter on where the hands are inside and where the hands, like that mesh point of like what's a hold and what's a good block. These were obvious. Pitt was grabbing guys, running free to the quarterback, and like flowing like where you could legitimately see a guy do this.
What was happening was you see offensive linemen do this when they know they're beat and they're willing to take the penalty to avoid their quarterback having his face mask pushed into the dirt. And they still didn't call those blatant penalties that the offensive linemen knew when they did them were penalties. But
how about the Dorian Jones hands to the face call where he and
Gresham.
the offense, or Gresham. Yeah, it's Gresham. You're right. He and the offensive lineman were both hands to the face.
Running with each other's.
With each had their face mask, and Cincinnati gets called. What? What? That was,
all right.
Again, I said it on Twitter, and people lost their minds because, well, actually, they're not playing very well in the fourth quarter. That was maybe the worst officiating crew I've ever seen in terms of the consistency of how they officiated the game. It was terrible. Terrible.
If you could redo the win over under now after 2 games, would you go over 6.5 wins? I've said it all along that it's going to be between 6 and 8. So I'm still there.
No, you're not there. Because you're still at 6, potentially.
Okay, so 7 and 9.
Okay, so you're over 6. You have eliminated 6.
Kool-Aid tastes good, doesn't it, Aaron? Kool-Aid tastes good.
All I know is I put a hundo on that 5.5, and I'm feeling.
I know, but you can't like still put 6 in your answer if the number is 6.5.
It's fine.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I'm rolling with 7.
I know that I think they're gonna win, but I have a feeling these guys could do something, dude.
You know what we haven't talked about enough, Royer?
When I just watch this defense and I just know.
You know we haven't talked about enough? Scott Satterfield won 9 games in his first season at Louisville. He came into a dumpster fire of a situation. That was a train wreck.
And I think
and they won 9 games.
Is so good, dude.
In the ACC, they won 9 games.
And we have a better defense than they did.
That was also before
maybe a better offense.
I think Emory Jones might be a serious like difference maker. I think I really underestimated him, to be honest, because I'm just watching him. I'm just watching the way he throws the intermediate, and it's just the ball coming out of his hand is pure. He can throw, and I always just thought he was just going to be run would be more
throw the deep ball and run
a gun. Yeah,
but it's just all valuable now, and it's opened up. It's opening up this whole offense that I keep kind of like just going over and over and just gawking over. But I don't know. I think this team can do. I think if they beat Oklahoma, I think they can do something special. I don't know. I just the defense and this offense right now is kind of opening my eyes to the possibilities because the dynamic versatility is what wins you games, and they have it on both sides of the ball. And I just
If
they
Would
can
you agree with-
execute
would
and
you-
they can respond to adversity.
Would you agree with me on this, Royer? If they play Oklahoma to like a dogfight decided in the final 2 minutes, I still think you're right.
Yeah. I think they could lose Oklahoma by 10, 14 points, but if they play good, Oklahoma
Yeah.
just shows up and balls out. I don't think that changes this team's projection. I think they could still go out there and win all of, if not lose just 1 or 2 games and be sitting at 9-3. Hell, that might get you in to the Big 12 championship. You never know. We'll see.
I still think it's like
It's
I
crazy.
think three would probably, assuming they beat Miami,
Yeah.
that would mean 3 Big 12 losses. Like I think that would be
Yeah.
a stretch, but like
Yeah,
it
you'd have
puts
to
you
be
in the
two.
upper half.
You're right.
It puts you in the upper half of the league when they were
Yeah,
picked
you could be
13.
knocking on the door. Oh, they're
Look,
not gonna be
I haven't really sat down and been able to consume a ton of this league, but I can tell you this: they're not 13th.
No.
no.
Kool-Aid
not there,
tastes
no.
damn good, baby. But no,
I don't even.
All right.
Is that
Drinking
so? You're
Kool-Aid, man.
drinking
I
grape
don't even
Kool-Aid and not wine tonight, Brent?
yes, Kool-Aid flavored. Yes, but just real fast, I'm taking the over. But as you can see in Colorado, I know you guys don't want me to talk about Colorado, but playmakers win games. And Cincinnati's got a bunch of playmakers on offense, and then they've got a stout defense, especially defensive line. So, yeah, I am with you, Ryan.
Feel like you could have made that point without mentioning Colorado. Well done.
All right, well, come on. Playmakers.
All right. Question for Ryan. With the new coaching staff and players, it seems like halftime adjustments would be more challenging. Is that true? If so, what is the time length till the coaches feel more comfortable with adjustments?
All the coaches or all the questions tonight have been for Ryan, so I just wanted to give Ryan his, his spotlight.
No idea what was.
I was like, what the hell is going on?
Everybody keeps asking Ryan questions, so
let's see
like
here.
it's
I'm
the
gonna
Ryan
go-
Royer show here on BearcatJournal.com.
You looked
What
good
did
on the
Coach
big
say?
screen, I'll be
Seemed like
honest.
halftime.
Do you need
Thanks,
me to
boys.
repeat the question?
It's just basically how like the coach's ability to adjust and coach the players up during the game. Obviously more experience comes with more comfortability, and that's always better. But it seems like that it seems like the players and the coaches are on the same page. Like we saw one bad mistake in yesterday's game, but there's no MAs, there's no like runs where Pitt was going on this run where they like were just exposing like our game plan. It felt like we were always a step ahead, and when you're always a step ahead, that means that you're adjusting too. So I think the players and the coaches are on a good page right now, and it's only going to get better as the year goes on. It's promising to kind of see where they're at though right now.
All right. Is it realistic for a UC
timeline either?
Okay. Is it realistic for a UC fan to expect a 5-star recruit for the football program in the next 5 years? Brent?
I mean, shoot. If since Reigns blows up, sure. I mean, the thing is that all these 5-star players, there's like a pocket full of 10, teams that get pretty much all of them. Although Texas Tech just got a 5-star commit or a crystal ball. I'd say it. If they start winning a bunch in 5 years, though, that's not a lot of time. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, sure, but I don't think it's super realistic. I don't know. There's not a lot of 5 stars out there. There's a bunch
32
of good 4 stars
every year.
Right. What do you think, Aaron?
I don't think it's realistic, and personally, I don't care because I don't put too much stock in the ranking system anyway. I think that I say that over half of it is made up on the fly anyway. And I would rather go.
No, I don't agree with that.
That's fine. I'm just saying. I think that I would much rather go with a competent staff that can recruit at a high level despite the stars. And I feel like that right now, as things exist, this team has a really good recruiting system in place.
If your talent evaluation system identifies a kid and you bring him in and he happens to be a 5-star, great. Like, I think that's where you're going, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like, the thing I've always gotten caught up in is like, it's football and there's 500 really good players at the top of the board, right? Like, if you get player like Jawan Briggs was the 75th best recruit in the country.
4-star.
4-star, high 4-star.
Yep. Not 5-star.
But not a 5-star. Like, who cares? Like, you just went out and got one of the elite high school prospects in the country. Yeah, it was via transfer, like whatever. But like, they've gotten multiple 5-stars via transfer. Some of them have worked out. Some of them have not.
Was Emery a 5-star?
No, high 4.
High 4? Okay.
Again, there's only, like, the way 24/7 does it, there's only 32 5-stars every year. So think about the tens of thousands of high school football players, and there's 32 that are 5-stars. And especially now in the NIL era, those 32 are getting paid. Like, if you're Cincinnati, are you really going to blow your recruiting budget on, like, your NIL budget on
one kid,
a guy that's, 24th? Or take, 2 guys in the top 150? Because they're probably going to cost about the same. Like, I don't know the equation.
Daniel said, how many Cincy Light shotguns would it take for a 5-star? I'll start now.
Roughly.
Me too, Daniel. Ooh.
Roughly 500,000.
Right. Yeah, like Emery was like, I think 89th in the composite.
Right.
Not a 5-star. It's like 85th in the composite. Not a 5-star.
Not a 5-star by 50. There were 50 other kids before you got to the 5-stars. Like, don't worry about 5-stars. Yeah. Worry about, like, are they recruiting really well in that, like, 88 to 92 range? Because guess what? Those kids in that 88 to 92 range are really fucking good football players. They have the height, the measurables, the speed. Like, they have multiple of the things that you need to have a successful program. In the NIL age, don't worry about the top 30. Don't worry about the top 50. Live in 50 to 200, 50 to 300, and make most of your work in that realm, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's not like basketball. Basketball, if a kid's a top 10 kid, there's a pretty damn good chance he's going to be playing in the NBA in a year or two. That's not how football works. It works different.
All right. And the last question of the football portion of the mailbag. Do you think Mateer can become more of a factor this year? I feel like Singletary has flashed more thus far, but Mateer still has ridiculous measurables. I'd like to see him more involved in the offense.
We kind of already answered this one.
Singletary has become the guy they trust. Guess what you have to do as a football player? Become the guy they trust. Ryan will tell you.
Make plays.
No, just become the guy they trust. Your reps on special teams increased when, Ryan? When you became a guy they trusted.
Yep. You got to make the plays, know the plays, don't make mistakes. I don't think Shaman's really – I don't think he's, like, done a bad job or anything to deserve to not play, but Peyton's doing what they want. I think Peyton might be a little bit more quick and dynamic. Not that Shaman isn't, but obviously Peyton's been showing stuff in practice that fits what they're looking for in that offense and that tight end role in different packages. But you'll see Shaman, don't worry, like we said.
Shaman's really good. But let's not create another, like, I expect to see more of Shaman, so I'm going to be pissed if there's not more of Shaman. If they're getting the production, they got 6 receptions from the tight ends. 2 of those receptions were significant, and Peyton got a touchdown. Like,
I would have loved to see multiple 6-game catches from the 6-catch games from the tight ends last season.
yeah, like I get it. I get that we all like Shaman is dynamic. He's big, he's physical. We all want him to get there. But if right now the progression arc is Peyton is the guy that they're trusting in the red zone, then just be happy for Peyton being the guy that they're trusting in the red zone, and it's resulting in touchdowns. When you can get mad is if they keep going to somebody and that guy keeps dropping the ball or, like, you know, being not running his route crisp or not like doing, you know, exactly what you expect for the guy you draw up a play for him. You call his number. If he doesn't execute the play, then worry about why isn't the other guy getting the opportunities.
Man, that's
They're calling up Peyton Singletary's number and he's making touchdowns.
It sounded like Nick Mardner. My goodness. All right, moving on. That is the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. I know the NCAA rules prohibit media at workouts, but has there been any rumors on how the basketball team is looking?
Right now, it's very early in the process in terms of, like, they're not doing team workouts. It's a lot of individual workouts, just skill development. We get to the start of practice, I think, in 2 weeks. So nothing yet. We're close. Skill development is going well, but I'm not going to sit here and talk to you guys about guys dribbling around chairs. Like, all right, well, I think player number 30 did the Steph Curry 2-ball bouncing drill really well yesterday. Like, we're not there yet. We're getting there. We're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. There is this period of 3-4 weeks where they do heavy skill development and then they get back into the team stuff. Once the team stuff is moving along, we'll have a little bit more information about how the team is looking.
Dribbling around chairs is not impressive unless Dante Corleone is sitting in said chair. Just saying.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of space to cover.
There's a lot involved. That is a multi-layered joke.
Well done, Aaron. Well done.
All right. Thoughts on a potential NIT substitute for teams of Big 12, Big 10, and Big East? Before you answer this question, Chad, I would like to do the nightcap on this exact topic. That's what I've been thinking all day long. I think this is big enough to do a nightcap on tonight. So,
I like it.
And I think it's too long to answer here. I think this deserves a full answer in that regard.
Just say I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea.
Check out the nightcap. We will address it there. But good question, Beth. We're on the same page. That ends the basketball portion of the mailbag. And moving on to the last portion, the Banks portion of the mailbag, before we can get out of here. My God, this has been a long one again. Rapid fire. You're stuck on an elevator for a day and it's playing one song on loop that you can't stand. What song would that be? Anything by Cher, anything by Taylor Swift, anything country.
This is just
anything
the song
country.
you hate the most.
Yeah,
right.
I think I would lose my mind to probably like one of those like lullaby songs, you know, those nursery rhymes. That would probably make me go absolutely.
You'll find yourself in a weird place one day, Ryan, where you're like, God, that means the kid is sleeping, and it literally is music to your ears.
Like you're just curled up in the corner of the elevator.
Us four, we're on an elevator, and it's wheels on the bus.
Rockabye baby on the
I'm conked out in the corner.
I take a nap.
Yeah, I tried to
I
tell
think so.
Aaron when he had the baby, like, look, the key to life, the key to happiness when you have a child under 3 is to sleep the second that they fall asleep. I do that with my puppy from time to time. Like, we'll work late. I'll have to get up early and I'll have a little bit of a window. And as soon as I see that puppy stretch her paws out on the couch, I'm like,
All right.
yeah, country. Friends in low places, I might shoot myself in the face.
Oh, what? What?
I'm going the
hell?
opposite way. I think some like screamer, like loud music would kind of just drive me insane.
Pantera.
Yeah, like I'd be like, whoa, right?
That's fair. Yeah, probably like some like death metal. Probably would be that, like, just shut the fuck up, man. We're stuck in an elevator. Shut up.
I don't mess with that stuff though.
No, I don't either.
Of course you do. Ryan said he did. He kind of messes with it.
No, thank you.
Who wins in a fight? The Mountain from Game of Thrones or 100 Freshmen?
100 freshmen.
100 freshmen.
I feel like 100 Freshmen, especially as you go further back in generations to like the 60s and 70s. There's no chill in the generations from back then. And what is your favorite pierogi? I've actually never had a pierogi.
Oh, really?
Best burger I've had is from the Ripple Wine Bar in Covington, which I talked about last week.
You did.
They're amazing cuisine.
I'd like probably like a beef and cheese. Probably.
How do you like it prepared? Do you like it baked? Do you like it fried? Do you like it? I like it boiled and then in butter.
Like boiled and then fried. Like, so you boil it right to the point and then you fry it. You get the outside of the potato like a French fry, a little crisp on the outside.
Okay. Yeah, my mom used to always just make it just boiled butter, melted butter, and it's just it's so good. So good. Yeah, I think just traditional cheese, chives maybe. Meat, sure. That's a little bit, yeah.
Little cheese, little like ground beef.
Shouts to somewhere at Pitt. One of the guys I was with got a pierogies this weekend. Speaking of the devil, skins 99, and it was good baked, but it came with some onions. You know, you love onions, Chad. So you put the onion on there.
Yeah, my favorite.
Dip it in sour cream if you want.
Follow-up question: BCJ karaoke. Who is the best singer and who has the most fun doing it? I'm going to just put the crown on my head and say I am the best BCJ karaoke singer.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm promising you.
What do you sing?
Yeah, what's your go-to?
Oh,
are you
fuck out of here. Anything. Yeah. What do you say?
What's your go-to?
My go-to song is Third Eye Blind. How's it gonna be?
Did you make a crowd? Song. Did you make a crowd of 1,000 people like crumble when you were up on stage?
I've sung at large parties before.
At karaoke, yeah.
I sang
in Nashville. Did the bands ask if you did this as a profession when you were done?
My proposal when I got married. R.I.P. to that marriage.
You don't get to use this as a plus. This didn't fucking work.
It worked. I got the job done. I just didn't make a good husband.
Shaggy, Angel, I bring down the house. I'll put that up against anybody. 100%.
I feel like I've gotten in the middle of like some serious karaoke fuckers here.
Stamp it.
But
we used to do karaoke night at Clifton Heights Tavern. We'd go every Thursday, and it was a blast. And I was not very good, but the liquid confidence makes you think otherwise.
So I do have an uncanny ability to sound a lot like Eddie Vedder. And at a work thing, as I was early in my career with Radio Shack, like getting into management, I did Better Man, and I ended up in a very happy situation at the hotel that night. So I think I did pretty good.
What the
Hey,
One,
Cat,
what-
I hear you.
one of my other go-tos is Linkin Park in the end. I like to have somebody else do the rap part, but I'll do the sing part. So
Daniel's done singing, Aaron, right now.
yeah, nope.
Have you
I'm not
gotten
a- I'm not
paid
a
to
dan-
perform it at weddings?
Oh, Brent's saying he's gotten paid to sing karaoke at weddings.
I don't believe that.
Oh, you are.
Wow.
All right.
I know you've been to a lot of weddings. But I don't know that anyone's ever actually paid you to sing at them.
Hey. You don't know.
You've gotten paid just specifically to sing "Angel" by Shaggy at weddings.
They paid you to stop.
No. You guys have no clue.
All right. Moving
What a
on.
great question. What a great question.
Who had a worse performance week? One, Kadarius Toney or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Tony.
No,
I
Joe
think.
Burrow.
Well, Joe Burrow didn't have to deactivate his Twitter account because of the
Uh,
haters coming at him. But I agree.
Joe
I think
Burrow had to deal with the elements. The Browns' defense played
he was
well.
dog shit.
I don't think
dog
the
shit.
play calling put their playmakers in the best position to make.
Guys,
Man,
it's call the plays at the line. You
He
pay a
doesn't-
guy
I
$55 million a year. He's the fucking play caller, right?
after seeing Jamar Chase's route tree was terrible.
I saw that. I agree. But hey, I ain't mad though. The Brownies got it done on your boys. Let's go.
There,
The Browns
Ryan's
are
muted.
set up defensively to
Ryan-
destroy the Bengals.
Ryan's
Elite
muted.
edge rushers and guys that can play man-to-man corner. Like the Browns are set up, but that was fucking awful. Like I'm gonna. It's gonna take me a lot of restraint to let you and George. No, look at that! Look at that!
You got receipts, huh?
Hey, motherfuckers throwing their hands in the air and waving them like they just don't care.
I don't know
What
how
are you
that means you
singing
got.
there, Brent?
I don't think that equates to you getting paid.
Aaron,
just
that was
means
one
you
of
had
the 7 times I've done it at weddings. So
That just means
Woo!
He
you
was
did
part
not.
of a wedding band.
You didn't get paid 7 times. Get out.
crown.
I will out sing you.
It also took him
7
7
days a
minutes
week.
to find that picture.
Crown.
Good boy.
When you go to 442 weddings, you're bound to sing.
And
at
the
a
answer
couple
to
of
this
them.
question is Kadarius Toney.
Burrow was so bad, man. He was so bad.
I mean, if you
Well-
get
well,
250 mil, aren't you going to be a little bad your next
No.
big performance?
No.
I am.
Well, George and I'll break it all down tomorrow night on George and the Jungle.
But I also heard it was
All right.
rainier as the UC Miami Victory Bell game of 2019. So
All right, and the last question: thoughts on the New Heights episode with Kylie Kelsey? I thought it was great, and she should be regular. Also, Aaron and Chad, how long would you let Travis watch your kids? There's not a shot in hell I'd let Travis watch. I know how I watch my kid, and I'm not letting Travis watch my kid.
Travis would be fine. Like, would I let him watch my infant? No.
Mine is 1, correct.
Would I let him watch my like 5, 6, 7-year-old? Yeah, because I think they'd be on a similar level. Like they would have relatable conversations.
Agreed.
Would I let him watch my teenage daughter? Absolutely not. And that's not anything on Travis. That's that I have a teenage daughter, and absolutely not.
Who's also in love with him.
Right. No. But
And badly for everyone.
right. Like you go into that 5, 7, 8-year-old range. I would like Travis would be a blast if you were like 6 years old to be around. The episode with Kylie was great. Like I've only spoken or like been in a conversation with her once. It was Aaron, you might remember this. We were supposed to have Zach Caleros on the show. And Zach hit me up like
Didn't he forget to
3
tell his
hours.
wife?
He hit me up 3 hours before the show and informed me, hey, we are at my wife's sister's house and I was just going to go into one of the like spare rooms and do the show. But my wife informed me that is rude because we are visiting my in-laws and that I will not be able to do the show tonight, which I understood. Like, I get why his wife would be kind of upset with that. So I was in the car and we were driving, and I called Jason just as like a Hail Mary. Hey, can you do the show tonight? Because Caleros, your quarterback, backed out on us. And Jason was in his car on his way to his anniversary dinner with his wife. So I was like, hey, man, like in a bad spot. Caleros kind of fucked me. Can you do the show tonight? And Kylie laughed. And Jason was like, look, man, I'd love to do the show, but I'm going to anniversary dinner with my wife, and I'm not getting in trouble for that. So that's the only time I've really interacted with Kylie Kelsey was me, Kelly, and Kelsey in our car, and Jason and Kylie in their car, and Kylie probably staring at him with like daggers. Like, no, you are not doing this fucking podcast tonight to cover Zach Caleros' ass. I think it's a good story.
Well,
is that not a good story?
It's the best.
It's actually the first time that Kelsey, my daughter, believed that I knew Jason. Because I called him and he answered, and she was like in the back seat, like, and I was like, yeah, I just have to call him and he'll answer. He's a good dude. Like, we know each other.
That's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent. 2 hours and 45 minutes later.
Hey, the mailbag itself
We
was
still
an
have to do a
hour.
nightcap?
Hey, huge win in the Scott Satterfield era. Big game this weekend. Make sure you're there. Nip at night. Quick shout out, of course, as always, to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Quick shout out to Quick Paper Supply. Also, I'm going to give a little shout out to Home Field Apparel for sponsoring the mailbag as well. And then on top of all of that, a huge shout out to my guys, my pals, my partners. I had Cincy Light this weekend for the first time. It was fantastic. Had about, a lot of them. But hey, that's it. And that's all, folks. So, hey, for my guys, pals, partners, Chad Brendel, Aaron Smith, Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!